It's a rare occasion. You can count on one hand the amount of times we get to race under the lights every single year, and this weekend's one of them for the Stars Championship Series night fight at Trackhouse Motorplex. Sunset, into the lights, and starting in the early afternoon, featuring the brand new OKN division with a surprise new driver joining us here today. The Pro Stars class has bloomed into plenty more, including standout from yesterday's heat races, Talon Yuckel trying to turn that number 2 plate to a number 1. Under the lights in Mooresville, North Carolina, with 230 plus drivers in attendance. It's all coming your way next here on Kart Chaser.
Good afternoon, here live from Kart Chaser, round 1 of the Stars Championship Series night fight here at Trackhouse Motorplex. We're going to get right into it here for some pre-final racing, starting with the KA Masters class. Ryan Kasner is going to lead them to the green here inside of row 1. Jacob Neary, row 1 outside of row 1 there, starting P2. John Bonanno, probably the quickest guy yesterday, started P3, didn't have the heat 1, he would have wanted heat 2, he was flying. Looking for more of the same here as they go to the green, Simon.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, looking for the green into the tram lines now. Neary and Kastner, your front row for this pre-final KA Masters.
Yeah, they got the green here. Kastner, good start. John Bonanno is going to follow him into P2 already. The start he would have wanted. Jacob Neary didn't get the go-kart rolling there on the outside of row 1. Falls back to P3, but what a start there from John Bonanno.
And through turn 4, back farther in the field, side by side. But up front, still nose to tail, Neary and Kastner out front with a small gap to P3 of Billy Workman Jr.
Yeah, he's going to be a guy to watch. Billy Workman Jr. yesterday, back-to-back, heats didn't really go his way, but he was arguably, top 2, top 3 in lap times. He fell back in the second heat, got taken out, drove right up there to the top 5. Already Billy Workman Jr. into P3.
Kasner up to P1 now, though, as he gets challenged out of the exit of the last corner, coming to the start-finish the first time by. It'll be John Bonanno up front, your Heat 1 winner yesterday, making his way through the field to the front with a small gap out to his competitors behind, a 4-kart group behind him, consisting of Kasner, Neary, and Miguel Mir.
Yeah, Jacob Neary got Kasner at turn 1, but Kasner didn't want to stay P3 for much longer. Into the turn 4 bowl corner, Kasner makes the move, stick on Jacob Neary. This racing, though, is going to let John Bonanno have a little bit of breathing room. I suspect these two guys are going to start working together. Obviously, the Masters guys, really experienced drivers. They know what it takes. 2's faster than 1. Guy looming in the background, though, of this entire group, Billy Workman Jr. there in P5.
And he's the tail end of this front group here. With this KA 100cc power plant, we're going to see a good bit of draft racing. So expect this field to close back up as we continue on through past the start-finish line. 10 minutes remaining in this pre-final.
Yeah, Jacob Neary and Kasner working really well together that lap. After Kasner got back around him, these two guys are going to push right up to John Bonanno. They've already closed that gap to about 2 kart length as we head down the back straightaway into the turn 4 bowl corner. They are now on the bumper of John Bonanno. It is a 5-kart train, nose to tail for the lead here at KA Masters.
And the times are quick, but at the front is not where you'll find the fastest time in the field. All the way back to P7 of Brian Dinelli with a 52.467. That's 0.2 better than his competitors at the front of the field. So maybe a chance to work through and improve his starting position for the final for the 292 of Brian Dinelli.
Yeah, Brian Dinelli, consistently a guy known to be quick in the KA Masters class. Didn't really, have the showing we would have expected from yesterday, but already putting in purple laps here, looking down the order. Yeah, Brian Dinelli matching the lap times of the leaders. If the top 5 race, expect Dinelli to get up there.
And that P5 kart, the number 264, Billy Workman Jr., your fastest kart on track last time by. He takes a bit of a look to the inside. He's going to go side by side with Miguel Mir. through turn 4, side by side through 5 and 6. We can't quite see him in the back of the frame there, but he will not get that move done.
Yeah, Billy Workman Jr. elbows out there in turn 4. Elbows out again in turn 8. That moves to be a lot easier than he tried in turn 4. Move Billy Workman Jr. up into P4. Good move there on Miguel Muir. He's going to look forward now to the top 3.
That 277 MPG Motorsports Kart, Miguel Muir, just passed by Billy Workman Jr. Now rests in P5. The top 3 with a several kart length lead over the rest of the top 5 here with 8.5 minutes remaining, Alex.
Yeah, with Muir and Workman Jr. fighting, it created a bit of a gap there. Those top 3 have pulled away just a little bit. These guys, experienced enough. They know they can just work together. Long race, 8 minutes plus 2 laps to go in this pre-final. That's a lot of laps to go here on this Trackhouse Motorplex.
And especially with the top 7 having fastest laps all within a tenth of each other. This is an extremely competitive field with a lot of drivers that'll be looking to improve their starting spot for the final later under the lights here at Trackhouse Motorplex.
Yeah, right now Bonanno still leads. Gets a really good exit out of that corner, actually. Really surprised that Kasner was able to suck up to him there. But it looks to me like Kasner is really content with riding P2 right now. Jacob Neary, last few laps, has gone purple. That's the 3rd lap in a row. Neary's gone purple. He has the benefit of the double slipstream around these long straightaways. Head around turn 3, down the long back straightaway, downhill. Kasner is still going to stay in tow here with Bonanno, just conserving tires, just seeing where he is faster than him.
And all this experience these KA Masters drivers brings is on display here as they are not fighting each other for these positions. They understand this is a pre-final. It only sets the grid for the final under the lights later tonight. So it's better to just get that finish, get a good starting spot rather than go for it all and potentially take yourself out and have to start at the back of the field tonight.
Yeah, it's a good point you mentioned there. I mean, this is the biggest race where you do not want to have anything go wrong, because it's not like in a heat race where you can kind of, the next heat, bounce back, start back to where you were. No, the pre-final, you have an incident, you have to start at the tail end of the field for the final. These 3 guys know they've been the class of the field all weekend long. They don't want to put any of that in jeopardy if they make a mistake.
And Jacob Neary, as we see a move for the lead inside, side by side through turn 4, he'll get it done. Ryan Kasner to the lead of this KA Masters final, just about halfway through this race.
That was close. Kasner with a late move in a 4. His front left tire clipped the rear of John Bonanno, sent him a little bit wide there. Good racecraft, good car control from all these guys to keep the go-karts facing forward, but this racing put Billy Workman Jr. in the mix. It is a 4-kart train now for the lead in the pre-final for KA Masters.
Looming in the back of our frame, the number 264 machine, Billy Workman Jr. running quick laps, 51.9 last time by. He's making his way back up to these top 3 drivers late in the pre-final here.
Yeah, with Kasner making that move now, we're going to be able to see the actual raw pace that he has right now in his go-kart, but it looks to me like John Bonanno, again, just going to push Kasner through. Billy Workman Jr. sucked up to all 3 of them. He is now right there in the mix. Jacob Neary is going to have to be careful. He might be under fire from Billy Workman Jr. any minute now.
And we have a 4-kart fight for the lead as they come through the midsection of this track, heading towards the hairpin. No moves as of yet. All 4 staying in line. That's Kasner, Bonanno, Neary, and Workman Jr., your top 4 in KA Masters so far.
It looks to me that John Bonanno is a little quicker than Ryan Kasner right now. He's been pushing him around the racetrack a lot more than Kasner was, and there he goes to the inside. John Bonanno doesn't want to sit P2 any longer. He feels as though his pace at this point in the race is quicker than Kasner. Neary thinks the same thing. Jacob Neary now to P2. Kasner's going to push wide. He might lose another spot to Workman Jr. Workman to the inside of turn 3. Side by side, Workman to 3rd. Kasner from 1st to 4th in 2 corners.
2 corners, 3 positions lost. Tough fight to get back up to the front there. Ahead for Ryan Kasner.
Yeah, Ryan Kasner now might get under fire from Miguel Muir, who's joined in on the fray. Miguel Muir looming in the background. He might make this a 5-kart train here for the leading KA Masters. Back up front, though, John Bonanno has a little bit of breathing room down to Jacob Neary, but not enough to feel comfortable here in KA.
As we approach the closing stages of this race, still 4.5 minutes plus 2 extra laps left to go. But right now, up front, your leader, number 272, John Bonanno, still 51.9 last time by to the 52.1 of Jacob Neary behind him. He's got the pace. He's starting to pull out a bit of an advantage. And the battle we're seeing start to form on track is for that number 3 position between Billy Workman Jr. and Ryan Kasner, Alex.
Yeah, Kasner, an experienced guy in this class. I believe he's going to try to get up to Workman Jr. and work with him to catch up to Jacob Neary. Looking a little further back in P6, the fast guy on the racetrack these last few laps, Brian Daniele. If they race any more, there he is. Brian Daniele is going to join on this mix and make it a 6-kart train.
That 292 OTK kart looming in the background. That fight for the final podium position starting to heat up, but your 2 leaders solidly out front now with a healthy gap. Several kart links over the fight for the podium behind.
Yeah, I was about to mention Jacob Neary looks like he's quickest on the racetrack, and he goes purple, 51.793, a 10th quicker than John Bonanno last time by. If he keeps up this pace, he'll get in the draft of John Bonanno and make it a 2-kart breakaway for KA Masters Pre-final.
And the pace obviously continuing to increase as this field starts to spread out bit by bit. John Bonanno quick up front. Jacob Neary matching his pace step for step in that draft as they head towards the hairpin here. He's only a few kart lengths behind. He's really making this run back towards the front, Alex.
Yeah, Workman Jr. and Kasner seem to have fallen off just a little bit at the closing stages of this race. I mean, anything's possible in KA or in racing in general, as we've seen throughout the heat races yesterday. But as of right now, it seems to me that Bonanno and Neary have a few more tenths over the rest of the field at this point in the race.
Come across the line with 2.5 minutes remaining on the clock. Last time by. Fast times just outside the top 3. Ryan Kasner in P4, that number 2 machine. 51.8 last time by. The leaders 51.9.
Yeah, Kasner has closed the gap to Billy Workman Jr. If he can close it just a little bit more and work together with Workman Jr., he might make this a race again for the top 4. But as of right now, Bonanno and Neary, stride for stride, step for step on pace. I mean, the gap has seemingly just stabilized right there, about 1 to 2 kart lengths. Neary just needs a little bit more out of that go-kart or for Bonanno to make a mistake.
He's slowly but surely making his way towards that rear bumper of John Bonanno. Still a minute 45 plus 2 laps remaining, so we'll probably have 4 to go this time by. Across the line, John Bonanno still your leader. Jacob Neary closing ever so slightly up to the rear bumper now. John Bonanno as he starts to make his challenge for the point of this race.
Yeah, but the man on the mission right now, Billy Workman Jr., has pulled away from Ryan Kasner and closed the gap to the top 2 by almost 0.3 of a second. Last time by goes purple to 51.6. Here comes Billy Workman Jr. There he is. He's in the same frame now as these 2.
3.5 laps remaining. Still plenty of time for a lot of action to explode on track as Billy Workman Jr. making his way to the rear bumper. Jacob Neary, he'll get to it. The exit of the hairpin, not quite enough to make a move, but he's definitely shown that he's there, and Jacob Neary needs to protect himself from behind. That challenge for the lead of John Bonanno slowly slipping from his sights.
Yeah, Billy Workman Jr., that kart has come to life right now in the final 3 or 4 laps of this race. Workman Jr. has closed the gap even more to Jacob Neary. He made a bit of a mistake in the double rights exiting the hairpin and hit the bumper of Neary. That's why he lost ground to him, but I suspect he's going to get right back into the bumper with the pace we've seen. Up front, though, Jacob Neary has closed it to about half a kart length down to John Bonanno with about 3 laps to go.
Neary starting to put the pressure back on. A slight mistake from him in the hairpin last lap, but he's recovered brilliantly. Only about a half kart length and a half behind your leader now. 15 seconds remaining on the clock. I don't think they're going to get there, so you should get 2 to go this time by. We'll come past the line. Flagman will have the sticks in the air ready to go.
They need to be oh so perfect for these final 2 laps, and so far they've done that. John Bonanno, Jacob Neary, that gap, like I said, hasn't gone any larger or shorter than 1 kart length. They are just matching each other's lap times. Last time by, 51.6, 51.7 for Neary. So Neary a 10th quicker than Bonanno last time by. That might be enough with 2 to go. We'll see.
These MG Red tires bringing their best pace at the end of the race here as that fuel comes off the kart, burns off, the weight comes off. They start to inch forward in pace ever so slightly. The leaders both. Last lap was their fastest lap, so a lap and a half remaining left in this race. Alex and Neary no closer to Bonanno, still kart length back.
Yeah, Bonanno's extended his advantage to about 2 kart lengths this lap. It's been sort of the same thing all race long. Bonanno from turn 4 to turn 8 seems to have a bit of a pace advantage over Jacob Neary, but in the faster parts of the racetrack, Jacob Neary seems to close the gap, and as you see there how much he closed on the brake zone there in turn 11. He's made it back to a kart length again. I mean, it's really cool to see the difference in driving styles, difference in setup between these two go-karts, but what a run out of turn 1 and 2 for Jacob Neary. Down the back straightaway, he might have a shot here going to turn 4, Simon.
And he'll get to the rear bumper of that 272 comp kart. John Bonanno out front. Will it be enough to make a move? Yeah, he loses just about a kart length out of turn 4 there as we approach the tight chicane here. 5, 6, and we'll head towards the hairpin. One of our best passing opportunities on this track.
Yeah, Neary too far back to make a move into turn 8. Bonanno able to take the racing line into that corner. Neary gets a better exit than he's gotten all race long. Closes the gap to about half a kart length as they enter the double rights. Turn 9, turn 10. Good exit for Jacob Neary. Bonanno might have to go defensive. Looks over his shoulder into turn 11 and 12. Not going to be enough. John Bonanno's going to hold on to win the KA Masters pre-final over a charging Jacob Neary in P2. Billy Workman Jr., what a run for him in P3. Kastner, your pole sitter for that race, falls back to P4. Miguel Mir, P5. Paul Montopoli takes Brian Daniele there for P6. Daniele 7th, Christopher Horn 8th, Anthony Stifler 9th, and Tom Gertzner rounds out your top 10 for the KA Masters pre-final.
So the 272 comp kart machine of John Bonanno will lead your grid off for the final later here under the lights at Trackhouse Motorplex for Night Fight, part of the Stars Championship Series.
Yeah, what a run there. I mean, I guess the biggest thing there was Kastner just didn't seem to have the pace when it mattered. I don't know if maybe he overcooked his tires in the heat race yesterday, but wasn't the pace to be expected to see from him, you know, considering what he was running yesterday in the heat races there, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a tough race. Neary closed in at times, but ultimately didn't have the pace to take it all the way to John Bonanno. And he will close out your pre-final win. When we come back, more action to follow. We'll have your Micro Swift pre-final coming up next. Stay tuned. Plenty of action to come here at Trackhouse Motorplex.
Welcome back here live from Trackhouse Motorplex, round 1 of the Stars Championship Series Night Fight. We're getting set to go underway for some Micro Swift pre-final racing. Looking forward to this one, Simon.
Yeah, your start of the day yesterday, Parker Ives in that number 48 Ryan Perry Motorsport machine, leading your field to the green. We see him here on the grid, ready to head out on track for their pre-final, which will set the grid for the Night Fight later tonight, your main event.
Yeah, I mean, let's see what Parker Ives can do. You know, coming off of a Heat 2 victory there. Holden Myers and him had a good battle for quite a while. Holden Myers fell off towards the end of that Heat 2 race. Looking for a little bit more pace out of him to see if he can challenge Parker Ives up front. But let's see what we can. Let's see what happens here in the Microswift Racing. I mean, Luke Gilio didn't have the best Heat 1 he would have wanted, but Heat 2 he showed the pace, finished third, starting this race in P3, I believe.
And we'll take you through our starting lineup here as the karts make their way onto the track. Your front row, as we already mentioned, Parker Ives starting on pole. Alongside him, the number 54 of Cade Wolf, putting in a strong performance yesterday as well. Second row, inside, Holden Myers, the number 36 machine. Outside him, Luke Gilio, number 68, makes up the outside of row 2. Moving farther back to row 3, Colton Schniegenberg, alongside Parker Stewart. Row 4, Jake Manalio and Christopher Lavoie. Row 5, Danny O'Gara and Bryson Scales. Row 6, Anthony Mazzuculo and Austin Taylor. Row 6, Sterling Mulata and Daniel Ramirez. Row 7, Caleb Smith, Riley Dobelier. Row 7, Caleb Smith. Oh, I already mentioned that one. Griffin Vukic, George Zeminski. Row 9, Drake Williamson and Callahan Myers. Row 10, and rounding out your field, Liet Simonet. Coming around the final corner, about to head to the tram lines. Alex, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a slow start here for the Microswift guys. The Stars officials like to keep it slow here. They have to wait for the start box to accelerate, keep the starts real slow, real safe here. We see Holden Myers, I think, has his hand, or Cade Wolf has his hand in the air. He's saying they're going pretty early, and I think they did go pretty early. I heard them on the gas at the start-finish line. They got the green, though. Parker Ives holds on to P1 there. Good start there for, I believe that was Holden Myers. Slots in the P2. Good start for Holden. Cade Wolf going to fall back to P3.
Some contact farther back. Saw a few drivers get together there in turn 1. Everyone clean so far. Into turn 4, your leaders head. Parker Ives still over Holden Myers and Cade Wolf following close behind.
Yeah, good start for Holden Myers. Exactly what he would have needed. Coming off of a solid run in Heat 2 yesterday. He's going to try to back it up with another solid finish here. The guy that we need to watch, though, is Cade Wolf. Cade Wolf was really strong yesterday in the first heat. Heat 2 didn't really go his way, but showed really good pace, moved up a few spots. Falls back to P3 so far, but showed the pace that he can win in this class.
And through the last corner to complete your first lap of this Microswift pre-final here at Trackhouse Motorplex. Parker Ives, your leader, followed by Holden Myers and Cade Wolf. Colton Schniegenberg and Luke Gilio rounds out your top 5 so far.
Yeah, the guy that I want to be watching out for is Colton Schniegenberg. Colton, he's been quick, all year long, all the series he runs in. He's shown decent pace all weekend long, just maybe lacking about a tenth or two to really run up there with the top guys. So far, holding on there in a solid P4, though.
Capable of having a look to the inside there of Holden Myers into turn 4. Ultimately won't go for the move. But just behind him, Colton Schniegenberg arriving on the scene in that number 16 Microswift kart.
Yeah, here comes Holden Myers. Holden Myers got a really good rocket launch out of turn 6. Couldn't make anything happen in turn 8, but he's on the bumper now, Parker Ives. This is a 4-kart race for the win here in the pre-final from Microswift.
Holden Myers right up on that back bumper. Parker Ives, your leader currently. The draft, such a big effect here in these slower classes.
Yeah, Holden Myers, like you said, with the draft, goes purple last time out, a 55 flat. Those times will continue to tumble, as we mentioned. As the fuel, as you get less fuel in the go-kart, tires, the track gets better, tires start to come in. They're going to get down to the 54s, I suspect, here in the Microswift class, but looks like Schniegenberg made a little mistake out of the exit of 4 there, falls back just a little bit, loses about a kart or 2 to the top 3, but so far still a 4-kart race out front, but Schniegenberg dropped a tire there, exiting turn 6. Commentator curse. Schniegenberg falls back outside the top 7.
What a tough break for Colton Schniegenberg there. Out front, your top 3 still maintaining a healthy advantage.
Whoa, what a move for Holden Myers there, the double right. He's going to take the lead over Parker Ives, and Cade Wolf follows suit, so Cade Wolf down to P2. What a move for Holden Myers, though, to take the lead from Parker Ives.
Parker Ives from first to third in a matter of a couple of corners. He'll get right back on the bumper of Cade Wolf in P2, and they'll go and try and hunt Holden Myers down for that top spot. A healthy margin behind him to Jake Manilo and Luke Gilio P4 and P5, we'll see him move to the inside. Lou Gilio makes that complete, and he'll take 4th spot away in that number 9 machine.
Yeah, the more these guys race, the more they're going to let the top 3 pull away. These top 3 seem to be really content with pushing right now, especially with the 2 teammates out front. Holden Myers leads Cade Wolf, leads Parker Ives. These guys, they know they've experienced the Microsoft class. There's still 8 minutes and 2 laps to go in this race. Long racetrack, this Trackhouse Motorplex. So we'll see what happens here.
Right now, with 8.5 minutes remaining, we've broken into 2 groups to fight for the front. Your top 3, then following them, the next 4 karts will make up your 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th spots. A move to the inside, Parker Ives will take over that number 2 spot. And the number 48 machine, he now will attempt to chase down Holden Myers for the lead. Alex?
Yeah, Parker Ives, good move to the inside of Cade Wolf. Turn 1's one of those spots where you can make the move stick and not lose a lot of time, if any, to the guys in front of you. Another corner like that is turn 4. You see a lot of guys love to make moves like that because you can carry a lot of speed and really just maintain momentum.
And he's certainly done that. And he'll start to look the inside already in turn 7 there. Won't make it happen, but he's tapping the back of his helmet, trying to get a draft from Cade Wolf, but Cade Wolf's not there. It's just Holden Myers and Parker Ives. Cade Wolf arriving onto the scene now. A little bit too late for that head tap that Parker Ives gave, but maybe they can link up and work together.
Yeah, Parker Ives showing a lot of maturity there. He could have made the move fairly easily in the turn 8, decided better of it, wants to push away, and he knows the more you race, the more that you make the race a larger train. He's trying to make this a 2 or 3 car breakaway. I mean, he wants a 2-car breakaway, but Cade Wolf won't let that happen.
And we talked about the experience in the Masters class earlier, but these kids already driving well beyond their years. They understand, like the Masters, that this isn't the race they are trying to win. This just sets the grid for the next one. So a win here is great. It'll put you out front, but the consequences are high. If you go for too much and you find yourself taken out, you're at the bottom of the field for the final later tonight.
Exactly, but here we go. Parker Ives to the inside of Holden Myers. He's through. Holden Myers didn't put up any fight at all. He knows the more you pass, just the easier it is for those guys in 4th through 7th to catch him. But Holden Myers going to go for a crossover with the double right. Parker Ives looks over his shoulder, sees he's there, going to chop the nose just a little bit. Ives holds on to the lead, but Holden Myers clearly wants to race a little bit here with at least 6 or 7 laps to go.
And with still a healthy margin behind at 2.5 seconds, they have the room to make a few passes, but they have to be careful. We saw that next group on screen there. They aren't that far behind, Alex.
Yeah, and they're working pretty well together there, as we saw. I think Schneegenberg looking for a move on Giglio. Schneegenberg's going to make that move stick. After falling back to P7, Schneegenberg went purple last lap at a 54.7. Last lap again, a 55 flat. Fastest car on the racetrack right now is Colton Schneegenberg, looking to make amends for the mistake he had in turn 6 a few laps ago.
Still just under 6 minutes plus 2 laps remaining. Parker Ives, your current leader, out front. Behind him, Holden Myers and Cade Wolf chasing down the top 3 with about a 1.5 second advantage over the fight for 4th.
Yeah, let's see. Now that Schneegenberg's gone around Luke Gilio, can Luke maintain the pace and stay behind Schneegenberg and push him up to the top 3? Last time by, what a lap there from Parker Ives, a 54.3, 4/10 faster than the group that we were just talking about. So right now it seems to be a 3-car breakaway for sure.
I mentioned a 1.5 second advantage. That is now extended out to 2.5 seconds. So this lead group absolutely throwing down flyers right now. That second group fighting for position.
Yeah, Parker Ives out front to go purple by over 0.2 of a second. It's pretty incredible. I mean, didn't need a draft, didn't need a push. That's just on raw pace there for Parker Ives. Let's see if the 2 teammates behind him can hook up and try to get back up to the lead.
The rest of the competitors will be looking at Parker Ives, seeing his raw pace and trying to do something about it. We see 2 teammates behind him lining up, staying with him currently, but it's so hard to match his pace. When he's doing your draft lap times out front by himself, that's an incredibly tough ask for these young drivers to go ahead and try and replicate.
Parker Ives seems to have a really good way of just getting a great launch out of the corner. I mean, even in these high-speed stuff here, as we see Holden Myers gets a really good run out of turn 3. He might make a move in 4, doesn't make it happen, but he's right at the bumper of Parker Ives. But exiting 4 here, you're going to see Parker Ives just get a little bit of a gap there, half a kart length. That's all it takes here. Enter this S's here through 5 and 6. Parker Ives, again, gets a great launch out of the corner. See, when he gets that great launch, it's hard for guys like Holden Myers and Cade Wolf to even get a run on him into the hard braking zones.
And they're still there because of draft, but Cade Wolf and Holden Myers, the two teammates, are going to know not to fight each other here, because even if they make one pass on each other, if it breaks them out of draft range from Parker Ives, he will take off and win this Micro Swift pre-final.
Yeah, just Parker Ives doing a great job of maintaining that gap there to Holden Myers. Cade Wolf just isn't quick enough right now to get to the bumper of Holden Myers. The second those two can link up, though, I suspect they'll be able to push right around Parker Ives. But right now, the gaps are maintaining about half a cart length here. Once again, just like last lap, Holden Myers, great run out of 3. Let's see if it peeks a nose in the 4. Doesn't. Holden Myers going to stay behind Parker Ives for another lap there in turn 4.
Yeah, and with the top 3 staying fairly well in line, the two teammates working together in P2 and P3 to run down Parker Ives. Let's take a look back for a minute. Your fight for P4. We saw it was a 4-cart train last time we checked, with Colton Schniegenberg, Luke Gillio, Jake Manilio, and Danny O'Gara all fighting for position there. It's like we've lost one, but 3 of them still tight in contention, side by side out of the hairpin there. And that'll be move complete for the number 68 of Luke Gillio. He'll move himself up into P4, Alex.
What a run out of the corner there for Luke Gillio. Schniegenberg, I think, was a little nice to him there. Could have maybe sent one into the turn 9 and 10 double rights there, but he knows, like we were talking about pre-final, there's no need to have contact and risk a worse finish. So he's content right now with the top 5.
These drivers driving safe, but still fast. They're pushing the limits here. That number 68 Luke Gillio still up front of the second group on track currently. A look back at your leaders. The gap spreading out even more now. Parker Ives taking his advantage over Holden Myers. He's extended that to 3/10, and another 7/10 back to Cade Wolf in P3.
Schniegenberg has retaken the P4 position. Didn't want to stay in 5th for much longer there, so moved Colton Schniegenberg back into P4. Luke Gillio's lost a bit of ground to Schniegenberg, but he's really good for that turn 8 corner there. Gets a good braking, gets the car rotated nicely, and he's back on the bumper now, Colton Schniegenberg. Like you're mentioning, though, the gap is spread out up front. Last time by Cade Wolf, about 5/10 slower than your leaders. Must have made a bit of an error, but we didn't catch it there. But again, Parker Ives out front. Purple, 54-2, all alone. 4/10 quicker than anybody else on the racetrack right now. Unbelievable stuff from Parker Ives.
This is scary if you're the comp carts behind him, as he just keeps getting faster and faster. We're now 11 laps into this pre-final, and he has just set his fastest lap of the race, already outpacing his competitors. But Holt Myers struggling to keep up, a 54.6 last time by. It might not be enough. 1.5 minutes remaining plus 2 laps to close out this pre-final.
Yeah, Parker Ives extending his advantage even more. Last lap was 6/10. It looks like more than 6/10 right now. Parker Ives putting on a master class of a performance here in the Micro Swift pre-final. Once again, though, I mean, there's no trophies for this race, right? The Comp Cart boys are going to go back to the drawing board, see, maybe they just missed it on tire pressures, because they were matching Parker Ives on pace, if not faster. But it seems as though Parker Ives' go-kart came in much later in this race.
And farther back, that second group still fighting hard on track. It's your closest battle on track. So 2 drivers in 6th and 7th, Jake Manilio and Danny O'Gara, almost going side by side through that final corner as they try to run down Luke Gillio and Colton Schniegenberg right ahead of them.
Yeah, it's a good, solid, mature drive from Colton Schniegenberg. I mean, he dropped the tire exiting 6th, lost 4 spots, had to drive back through to the field here to go back to where he even started in P4. Now he has to fend off 3 charging Micro Swift drivers of Luke Gillio, Jake Manilio, and Danny O'Gara, doing a great job so far.
And this will be your action to close the pre-final, as Parker Ives still extending his advantage. Now almost a second out front of his nearest competitor. So this second group on track, P4, 5, 6, and 7, your closest action. Still, Colton Schniegenberg leading Luke Gillio through the double right-hander towards the last corner of this track, Alex.
Yeah, Luke Gillio seems to just get a really good launch. Just like I was saying with Parker Ives, if you watch the way Luke Gillio is able to exit the corner, it's just a great launch. It helps him maintain that draft at the straightaways here. Let's see if Luke Gillio makes the move in turn 1. Not close enough there, but Luke Gillio holds a title line in 1. He's just a bumper now through 2 and 3. He might look for a move here in turn 4. As exit turn 3, let's see if Luke Gillio's going to peek a nose or push Schniegenberg away. Looks over his shoulder, nothing there, but Gillio to the bumper now. Schniegenberg with 2 to go.
Luke Gillio with a slight head look back, noticing his competitor's not fully on his bumper, so he's going to want to try and push Colton Schniegenberg as far ahead as he can, with problems from the number 11 cart, Caleb Smith, farther back.
Yeah, heartbreak there for Caleb Smith, running 15th at the time. He's not going to finish this pre-final. That'll put him last, starting the final. Not what you want to see there, but Gillio making a good move, exiting the double right-hander. Move Luke Gillio now to P4. Schniegenberg's going to have to wait for at least another lap here to try to make a move, but back up front. Look at the gap there. Cade Wolf and Holden Myers. Cade Wolf last time by a 10th quicker. The lap before was 4/10 faster. The Cade Wolf's right back in the mix for a P2 here.
With 2 to go in the air, Parker Ives well checked out in this race. The 2 teammates in P2 and P3 starting to go to work on each other. Cade Wolf has made that gap up on Holden Myers, and he's going to start to press the attack as we near the final lap of this race.
Yeah, just super impressive stuff, though, I got to mention for Parker Ives. Still doing 54.3s. His best lap was a 54.2, so just maintaining the pace all race long. It's unbelievable how good that car's been set up and how well he's driving. But right here, Cade Wolf closed the gap. Last time by was 3/10. It's about a kart length right now here to Holden Myers as they come around the final corner to get the 1 to go signal.
Certainly a close fight for that action for second place on track. Big gap out front. But behind them, the battle still rages on for P4, 5, and 6 as we enter the last lap of this race.
Yeah, let's see the run that Cade Wolf's able to get out of this turn 3 corner there. Might not be enough here. Looks over his shoulder. Does Holden Myers. Doesn't have to defend in the 4. Cade Wolf closes the gap there. Loses a bit on the center of the corner there. That's going to drop him 2 to 3 kart lengths back. He might not have enough time now to close it up. Closes up. Sends it in hard there in turn 6. Going to lose all that ground there exiting the corner. Holden Myers looks back. Does not defend in the turn 8. That might just be enough for him to hold on to P2.
And he's still within a kart length, so it's close as we look back to the battle for P4. Rages on into the hairpin.
Schneegenberg got him.
Schneegenberg out front. He's in P4 currently, followed closely by Luke Gillio and Jake Manilio.
Yeah.
Our leader crossing the line, though, and that will be the checkered flag for Parker Ives. A dominant performance, putting in his fastest lap on the second to last lap of this race, Alex.
Like I was saying, it's unbelievable stuff that Parker Ives is doing consistent. The last 5 laps, 54.2, 54.3. Rest of the field is in the 54.7 and 9s. They have that car absolutely dialed in right now. What a run for Parker Ives. Holden Myers going to hold off a hard-charging Cade Wolf there at the late race to get P2. Cade Wolf P3. Schneegenberg, after the mistake in turn 6 on lap 3, comes back, finish P4. Luke Gillio holds off Jake Manalio there, crossing the line to finish P5. Manalio P6. Daniel Gara, good run for him in P7. Anthony Mazzuccolo in P8. Bryson Scales P9. And Christopher Lavoie rounding out your top 10 here in the Micro Swift Pre-final.
Awesome action we've just seen there from the Micro Swift drivers in their pre-final. Up next, Pro Rock Masters when we return. Stay tuned for some more action.
right, and if you can hear it in the background, we're getting ready to go gearbox racing, first of many today, starting with the Pro and Rock Shifter Master guys here for this pre-final. Let's send you through the starting lineup. Starting on pole, Joe Ruck, the reigning Stars Championship Series champion with the #1 plate. Alongside him, Evan Batt on the Musgrave go-kart. Starting P2, P3 is going to be Scott Preston on the Ralph Schumacher go-kart. He's been quick all weekend long. Good to see him starting on row 2. Matt Machiko outside of row 2 in 4th. P5 is going to be Lance Lane. P6, Frank Runco. Row 4 is going to be Michael Rivera and Robert Feig. Row 5, Brian Chatfield and Michael Guwak. Row 6, Lauren Van Talk and Brian Danoff. Row 7, Tiffany Kelly and AJ Naud. Row 8, Justin Kelly, Steve Libretto. Row 9, Kelly Johnson, Corey Matthews. Row 10, Colton Aldridge and Marciano Santos. Row 11, Hugh Templeman and Maxime Ticon. Row 12, and rounding out your field is going to be Carlos Lopez. Here we go, Simon.
As they finish warming up their tires, you can see it there, scrubbing, heading towards this last corner. We'll enter the tram lines, but then they'll go stationary. We get ready for our first standing start of the day here, Alex.
Yeah, it's one of the most exciting things in racing, in my opinion. A standing start, especially with these shifter guys, 0 to 60 in about 3 seconds. They fly through turn 1 here. It'll be interesting to see what Joe Ruck can do. I mean, yesterday, Mr. Holshaw started P4, and both times found himself in P2 by turn 1. So now that he's starting in P1, let's see what the whole shot he gets, or if he gets a good one. Maybe, guys like Scott Presti in row 2 or Matt Machiko can do what Joe Ruck did. We'll see.
And that we will as they finish filling out the grid into the starting spots. We'll get ready and we'll go to the lights as we get ready to race here in Pro Rock Shifter Masters.
As the last guy gets set and stationary here on the grid, engines are starting to get higher up in revs here. Lights are about to come on. Joe Ruck ready to go here. Let's see. And we are one major jump start there from the outside of row 3. That's going to be a penalty there. The lights must have caught him off guard, but good start for Joe Ruck. He's going to hold on to P1.
P1, Evan Batt still there in P2. Having a look to the inside, though, Scott Presti won't get it done, but he definitely has a look there side by side, further back in the field as we get clean through turn 4, Alex.
Yeah, I think that was Matt Machiko there making the move on Scott Presti. So Presti down to P4. He's going to send a late move there into turn 8. Scott Presti back into P3 on the Ralph Schumacher go-kart. What a move from Scott Presti, late on the brakes and made a stick.
Certainly, but a gap forming out front as he has some work to do to catch your leaders. Evan Batt and Joe Ruck leading the field through the final turn as they come back by the start finish for your first lap. Pro Master Rock Shifter pre-final.
Yeah, Joe Ruck out front created a bit of a lead already, about 4/10 last time by. I don't think it'll grow any much more than that. But Evan Batt yesterday in Heat 2 put on a pretty good performance. Went purple in the race, kept Joe Ruck honest, only lost by about 0.3 of a second there. I suspect more of the same here.
The pace already starting to increase as times will continue to fall. Takes a second to get these cold tires fired off in these big, heavy karts. But once they do, that grip will increase. Also, though, tire deg on the other side, so you'll have a peak and a fall off on these tires. What'll be interesting to see is how these drivers manage it throughout this 15-minute pre-final.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Ruck told us yesterday in the interview, because of the lead he was able to create in the first heat race, he said he was going about 90%, able to do some tire saving. We'll see how much of a factor that plays down this pre-final.
It certainly will. The drivers will also have to think about that later as they go into the nighttime night fight. Final race of the weekend here. Stars Championship Series Round 1 at Trackhouse Motorplex. Still up front, Joe Ruck. Slight advantage, about a kart length over Evan Batt. And behind them, Scott Presti, about a second back, but looking to chase them down.
Yeah, Evan Batt at this point in the race seems to be just a little bit quicker than Joe Ruck. How much of that is tire wear? How much of that is gearing? How much of that is just overall tire pressures or even just the driver? We'll find out here in 9 minutes plus 2 laps to go. But Evan Batt last time by goes purple. That lap was stolen, though, by Brian Chatfield down in P8. Not the start Chatfield would have wanted, but it's flying right now.
certainly is down there in P8, the 619 machine. The whole field single file still as we see the camera pan through turn 4. Up front still Joe Ruck, Evan Batt headed towards the hairpin. About a 2-car length advantage now for Ruck over Batt as they come through the hairpin, take the exit. They'll head towards the double right and then the final corner on this track in Mooresville, North Carolina. Trackhouse Motorplex, a great facility. We are hosted by the Stars Championship Series here, night fight.
Evan Batt keeping Joe Ruck honest. We have one driver in the middle of turn 8. See if we can get a name to the number there, but now we want to see in the middle of turn 8. He's got that cart moved out the way, and he's all good, but not what we want to see there. That'll put him last for the final. I believe that was Maxime Ticon. So Maxime's now going to not finish this pre-final.
And Scott Presti with your fastest lap last time by, 47.618. So the leaders 47.668. So not much, but definitely still has the pace. He's starting to make some inroads, leading the drivers behind him to fend for themselves, Alex.
Yeah, Presti beginning to make the jump. Like you said, not a lot of a time advantage compared to the leaders, but an advantage is an advantage, right? If Evan Batt and Joe Ruck get to racing, which Evan Batt last time by was just a hair faster than Joe Ruck, this time by identical lap times, but there it is again. Scott Presti almost 2/10 quicker than your leaders last time by. He's made that gap less than a second now to your leaders. Here comes the Ralph Schumacher driver of Scott Presti.
He's certainly making his way towards the front. That clean air helping significantly. Evan Batt suffering right behind Joe Ruck. He won't have that advantage of clean air over his nose fairing. It'll be a little harder to get grip through turn 3 and other high-speed corners. So advantage Presti to reel in this gap.
Yeah, you notice it a lot in turn 4 and turn 1 and turn 3. Evan Batt, when he gets a run on Joe Ruck, can't seem to maintain it because of the aero wash that we're mentioning in these higher speed classes, like the Pro Master Shifters, like Pro Star Shifter, like OKN. Those guys have been struggling with aero wash all weekend long. Trackhouse Motorplex, very common to have it here with the long sweeping corners. Let's see how Evan Batt combats that.
And your top 3 by far the fastest on the track last time by, all setting their personal best about a half second quicker than the rest of the field. Currently, Joe Ruck, Evan Batt, and Scott Presti all making headway and towards starting in the top 3 for tonight's final.
Yeah, I mean, if you actually notice the way Evan Batt's been driving recently, it could just be the way he likes to drive in general, because the shifter guys, you can do the diamond approach to the corner, but he seems to try to get a little bit inside of Joe Ruck's line just to stay out of that aero wash a little bit. It could compromise his exit, but it's helping the go-kart safe underneath him.
And he might not be running faster laps than Joe Ruck currently, but running that close behind another driver shows you he probably has a bit more pace than Joe Ruck at this point in the race. Just can't make anything happen because anytime he gets close, he gets springboarded back because of the air effect on these go-karts.
Yeah, but you see there again, Evan Batt turns in a little bit earlier than Joe Ruck. It helps him stay next to him at least, or close to him on the entry to middle of the corner. Right here again, not a lot you can do there in 6, but has a shallower exit. Doesn't get the exit he would have liked there, but last time by, Evan Batt went purple compared to Joe Ruck by almost a 10th. So Evan Batt on the move here, but again, exiting 6, made the mistake there. Not the lap he would have wanted here.
And looming in the background, just entering your frame there, the Ralph Schumacher kart number 608 of Scott Presti, making his way towards the front of the field. It's closing into a 3-kart fight here for the lead in Pro Master Rock Shifter.
Yeah, there's the mistake there from Evan Batt. 3/10 slower than Joe Ruck last time by. Scott Presti was quicker than him by about 3/10. Looking down the order though, Brian Chatfield, after not the start he would have wanted, up to P6, goes purple at a 47.351. 2/10 quicker than your leader last time by. He's 5 seconds back from the lead, but might be able to get maybe Matt Pacheco for a top 5.
That 619 machine certainly firing on all cylinders here early in this pre-final. Definitely pushing for all he's got. The fastest lap of the race currently. We'll see how far he can make it up from P6. Back towards the front though, your leaders still on line, and Scott Presti starting to make headway towards Evan Batt there in P2.
Yeah, Joe Ruck absolutely flying right now. That cart has come into play here. Consistent 47.5 from him. Evan Batt 47.7. Scott Presti though, quickest of the trio. Here comes Scott Presti again, 3/10 quicker than Evan Batt. At that pace, he'll be there in about 2 laps time.
Currently, there are 3 karts on track last time by in the 47.4 to 47.5 range. And that's Joe Ruck, Scott Presti in P3, and then Brian Chatfield still on pace, running 47.4s there in P6, working his way towards the front. But Scott Presti still applying the pressure, only a few kart lengths behind Evan Batt and Joe Ruck with a nice healthy advantage. 4 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this pre-final.
Yeah, looking back to that battle there, Brian Chatfield looming in the background. He has caught 4th and 5th of Lance Lane and Matt Machiko. Brian Chatfield, he really wants that 4th place because that puts you row 2 for the final. You want to start row 2 because Joe Ruck proved yesterday that you could go to P1.
Absolutely, and Joe Ruck fastest last time by. As we see an issue, the 603 and the 606 machines get together. AJ Nowd and Michael Gouache, issues late in this pre-final for them. They're going to have to start from the rear of the field later tonight in the final. Tough break for those two drivers.
What a rough weekend for Michael Gouache. He showed great pace in qualifying in the first heat, but from then it's been all downhill there. Again, an incident. Oh no!
More
Contact
trouble.
with one of the Magic Kart drivers. I believe that was Lance Lane getting involved.
So your P4 driver, the 628 of
That
Matt
is-
Machiko
oh,
outside
no.
the hairpin, getting together with another driver there for the P4, P5 positions. So attrition late in this pre-final in Pro Shifter Master.
Lance Lane and Matt Machiko made it easy for Brian Chatfield to move Brian Chatfield now to P4. That'll put him row 2 for the final. He's been flying all race long. That's going to be a guy to watch as we get to the final under the lights here. But back up front, Scott Presti has closed that gap even more. Another 10th gain on Evan Batt. It is only 2 tenths from the pair of them there with 5 laps to go.
Closing down to a kart length there in the hairpin. Presti definitely making his presence known to Evan Batt just ahead of him. 2.5 minutes remaining. We'll get several more laps left of racing. Scott Presti continuing to press his advantage towards Evan Batt just in front of him for that number 2 position on track.
What's super impressive, though, is Joe Ruck. Last few laps, personal best, personal best, personal best. That kart is coming to life here. 12 laps into the pre-final. Not good news for everybody else on track right now.
I think we've just seen a beautiful display of tire management out front from Joe Ruck. Running P1, but with pressure for the first half of this race, not pushing 100%, but now he's starting to come into form, laying down those personal best laps, and that stretched it out to almost 2-second advantage for the drivers fighting for P2 behind him.
I think Scott Presti's proof here of aero wash does exist because Scott Presti was doing 47.4 and 5s all race long. The second he got within the draft window of Evan Batt, he's dropped his pace now to 47.6 and 7s. So clearly struggling a little bit to stay within reach of Evan Batt. But let's see what he can do here with a few laps to go.
Not having that arrow over the nose fairing just locks you in position behind the driver you're in front of. Whatever the pace they're running, that's probably the pace you will end up running behind them. As we've seen that, I think Evan Batt's tires probably took its toll running that close to Joe Ruck early in this pre-final. Now he's fallen back in the grasp of Scott Presti as he continues to chase down. Less than a car length between them now as they head just past the hairpin, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, if Scott Presti gets there, right, are you aggressive? Because, you know, this is the pre-final. If you get an incident, you're starting last for the final. But Scott Presti, a guy of the pace that he's shown, he wants to start in the front row because the front row gives you the best chance to get the whole shot into the lead in turn 1.
Absolutely. We'll see him probably try and go for this here. They'll want to be clean, though, like we keep mentioning, and only set your grid spot. There are high consequences, so nothing too overcommitted I would expect out of this fight for P2 here late in this pre-final. 34 seconds on the clock plus 2 laps, so we'll see if it's 3 or 2 to go this time by, depending on where Joe Ruck is on track currently.
Yeah, as we just saw on your screen, that was a 6:19 of Brian Chatfield. He's been the quickest kart consistently on the racetrack last few laps. Again, doing 47.4 is quicker than your 3 leaders. So Brian Chatfield, he's going to be the guy to watch in the final under the lights later today.
Definitely one I want to keep my eye on, showing brutal consistency and a harsh, quick pace, only matched by Joe Ruck up front. So come tonight, if he can get a good launch off the line, he may well be in contention for this win. Evan Batt and Scott Presti still going at each other as we see Joe Ruck come through turn 4, followed 2 seconds behind by your drivers of the 604 and 608 respectively. Evan Batt and Scott Presti fighting it out for the 2nd and 3rd positions on the podium.
Scott Presti this time around, as we see, Evan Batt got the curbing there on turn 7, hindered his straightaway speed entering turn 8. This is the closest Scott Presti's been all race long. Let's see if he can do anything with it. But again, entering the tight part of the racetrack, Evan Batt can be defensive if he has to. In the shifter classes, you can drop an extra gear if you need to get the straightaway speed or the launch onto the straightaway that you need. As our flag guy Justin gives the 2 to go here, Evan Batt doesn't defend much in the 1, doesn't have to. Scott Presti not close enough there in a 1. Let's see what they can do up the hill.
And just about everyone on track 47.8 last time by, so the pace falling off slightly as we approach these closing stages of the race. Tire wear is high, the fuel load's light, but they will be sliding all over this track as they continue to fight for these final positions on the podium.
Scott Presti's right there now. Good job under the brakes there in a turn 6. Doesn't really get a great launch though, in the corner into turn 8. Not close enough there to Evan Batt to make a move. Evan Batt doing just enough to keep the Ralf Schumacher driver behind him at this point in the race.
Yeah, coming back to the white flag this time by. I'm not sure if there's enough time. He's definitely closed the gap, but the question is, how do you overcome that aero wash in turn 3? How do you make the move stick for this second position? He'll look for it inside in turn 1. Has a look, won't complete it. The Ralf Schumacher driver certainly pressing the attack, trying to get his second position here on the final lap of this Pro Master Shifter pre-final, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, the question was, how aggressive do you want to be? Scott Presti there went for a move. The gap closed pretty quickly there. Evan Batt, great defense in the 1. Scott Presti lost ground there after that. Good job lap traffic getting out of the way here. Evan Batt goes defensive in the 8. Scott Presti looking for a crossover move. Gets a great launch exiting 8. He might have him in a 9, and he does. Scott Presti, with half a lap to go, takes P2 over Evan Batt.
After sitting behind him all race, lap after lap, staring at that rear bumper of Evan Batt, he makes the move in the last half lap of this pre-final to take home P2. Up front, Joe Ruck, your winner by a large margin, almost 3 seconds over Scott Presti and Evan Batt, P2 and P3. And Brian Chatfield with an awesome drive back through the field with some hot pace to finish in P4 in that 619 machine. Behind him, Lance Lane and Frank Rucco make up your top 5 and 6. Michael Rivera, Steve Libretto, Robert Feige, and Justin Kelly rounding out your top 10 of this Pro Master Final, Alex.
Yeah, what a race. I mean, kind of what we would have expected there out of the pace we saw from Joe Ruck yesterday. Now he's starting on the front row. We saw the pace that he had, but the guy to watch, Brian Chatfield, in this final coming up, he was arguably the quickest guy on the racetrack. Went purple at a 47.3, consistently faster than your top 3.
Not arguably, he was your fastest driver on track this past session. The driver coming home in P4, showing a lot of pace, having a lot of work to do to make his way up, passing people throughout the session, still running very consistent, quick paces. But that will wrap up your Master Shifter pre-final. Up next, we'll show you KA Junior. Group B will set it off for their pre-final. Remember, this will be one of your elimination classes. So Group B have to finish in a certain position. We'll check
Top
on
10.
what that is. Top 10 to make it through to the final later tonight. We will show you those cutoff positions and how it progresses when we come back. Trackhouse Motorplex.
Welcome to Ohio Kart Parts, the Midwest's largest Burrell Art racing go-kart dealer. We carry Burrell Art, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, and Robert Kubica branded go-karts, as well as parts from names you trust. Chassis components from Freeline, engines from Miami, Briggs & Stratton, and soon-to-be Tillotson, electronics from AIM Technologies, MG Tires, Taika Axles, seating from Tillett, Arai helmets, and 3/10 race products. Visit us online at www.ohiokartparts.com, at our facility in Lorain, Ohio, or at the local track on race weekends. If we don't have it, call us at 440-628-KART. That's 5278, and we will do what we can to help you out.
All right, we are back here for KA Junior pre-final for Group B. We're going to run you through your starting lineup here for the Group B pre-final. It's going to be Christian Blevins Jr. on pole position. Race Beckman starting on your outside of row 1. Will Franklin in 3rd. Brendan Hennigan in 4th. 5th is Landon Cardwell. Forrest Adams in P6. One of the quickest drivers all day yesterday. Just got unlucky with a lot of incidents there. Look for him to try to just make amends for those mistakes. Doesn't want to get eliminated out of contention here. Row 4 is going to be Kennedy Tracy in 7th. Isabella Simpson in 8th. 9th is Charlie Myers. 10th, Keelan Torgney. Row 6 is Ryan Moore and Hudson Williams rounding out your field here for the KA Junior Group B pre-final.
Come around the final corner, they'll head to the tram lines, and we'll look to get a green in this pre-final B. It's a pre-final at the same time, it's an LCQ, as we will have to send a few drivers home as they look for the green here. This time they'll get it 3 wide into turn 1, slight bit of contact, a big crash, massive crash in turn 2 there. We'll keep you updated on that, hoping the drivers are okay as we'll cut to the front of the field here. See Christian Blevins Jr. taking them through turn 4, Alex.
Yeah, now we want to see their turn 1 and 2 driver up and over. Hopefully they are okay.
We will go to a red flag here, red flag on the session. We'll keep you updated on what's going on, but all the drivers will bring their carts around, slow it down to a stop, and we'll try and get this managed safely.
Yeah, while the STARS officials and medical crew check on the driver, we're going to go quiet here while we're under red flag.
welcome back here. Stars Championship Series night fight. Red flag period now over as we'll get the drivers back and going for their formation lap. Set them up to go green again. Several drivers involved in that incident here earlier. Brendan Hennigan, one of those. We'll get you the names on the others, but driver that flipped, up and walking. Get you further updates when we can, but good to know that no serious injuries occurred.
Yeah, obviously this being a pre-final B, but essentially an LCQ here, losing 1, 10 advance. We're only going to lose 2. Now it's just a battle for the last spot on the racetrack. 11 karts left in this pre-final. Let's see how it goes, Simon.
So they will line up, heading towards the last turn, back in the formation, getting ready to head towards those tram lines. Doing it for the second time now. All right, you've made that first start, then you immediately had a red flag. You had to cool down. Tires are cold. Now you're getting back in. All the pressure back on these drivers to perform well. One will be sent home. The rest will make your final later tonight. As they head through the tram lines, looking for the green. The inside line getting a big launch there into turn 1. As we head through clean this time through 2 turns, Alex.
Yeah, like you said, inside row got a huge jump there. The guy in P3 was P2 before the green flag came out there. You see a move there, I believe, from Will Franklin. Franklin to go to P1 there on the comp cart.
From P3 to P1 in the matter of a couple corners. A great restart for Will Franklin. Race Beckman and Christian Blevins Jr. follow him closely. The whole field nose to tail so far as we head into the hairpin, Alex.
Yeah, Beckman, late move there. He's going to make that stick. He pushed the Cosmic cart wide there. Good move for Race Beckman. I believe that was Christian Blevins falling back.
As we have more fighting exiting the double right-handers there, farther back in the field. Issues on that opening lap in the hairpin. Looks to maybe be an MPG Motorsports Kart.
Well, that means, with him out, now there's only 10 karts left in this race, so everybody's going to actually make the final main here later on today. So these guys can now go all-out brawl here for who's going to start 31st on the 40th. Race Beckman to the lead there. What a move in the CRG kart.
Absolutely, the top 3 dicing it out. Will Franklin, Race Beckman, and Forrest Adams as they come through the middle part of this track. Headed towards the hairpin, turn 8. A bit of a gap, about a kart length between each, and then several kart lengths back to your fight for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, Alex.
Yeah, this is what we expected here out of Forrest Adams. Forrest Adams yesterday, a top 3 contender in this KA junior class. Like I was saying earlier, didn't have the heat to it and wanted it. Just involved in wrecks, wrong place, wrong time at all times here, Forrest Adams. So right now, already in P2, started P6 in this race. Let's see the pace that he's got right now of a race Beckman. Last time by goes purple to 52.8. But the laps will continue to tumble as the track evolves, as the tires get up the temperature here. As Forrest Adams now to the bumper of Race Beckman. In the next few corners, he's going to make a move here, I believe.
Yeah, Forrest Adams, one of our quicker drivers in the KA junior category here this weekend, already the bumper of your P1 driver, Race Beckman. Race Beckman had the quickest lap last time by, however, Forrest Adams was making a pass, so a little bit of a hold up there as he immediately charges to the rear bumper. Won't make a move this time to the hairpin, but he's ready to pounce it at any time here, Alex.
Yeah, these drivers may not know that the MPG driver is out of this race, so they don't know that there's 10 karts left in this race. So as far as they're concerned, there's still consequences here for an incident, and there always is consequences, right? Because you'd rather start 31st and 40th, especially in Forrest Adams' sake. One of the quickest guys on the field. He wants to start as front of the grid as possible.
A big fight for the last spot on the podium of this B group in pre-final of KA Junior. Forming here, Will Franklin, Ryan Mort, Landon Cardwell, and Christian Blevins Jr. all fighting hard. 2 more drivers behind them. Keelan Turney, Kennedy Tracy.
Yeah, large train forming there, but Race Beckman, last time around, matching Forrest Adams' pace, and this lap actually extending his advantage over Forrest Adams here. Further back, though, Will Franklin, the leader of about a 6-kart train here. As we see Ryan Mort side by side of Franklin. He's going to make it stick. What an exit he got out of turn 8. Entering 9, Ryan Mort around the outside. Move Ryan Mort to P4. Will Franklin going to fall back to P4 now, and I believe that is Landon Cartwell now making a move. Will Franklin from 3rd to 5th in 3 corners.
What a drive in that number 812 MPG Motorsports machine for Ryan Mort, making his way through that pack so far. Still quite a margin ahead of him to the top two drivers, Force Adams and Race Beckman. Race Beckman fastest lap last time by 2/10 over Force Adams. So Force Adams certainly has his work cut out here if he wants to win the pre-final in KA Junior Group B.
Yeah, Will Franklin there in turn 4 made the move back on Landon Cardwell. So Will Franklin now up to P4, Cardwell back into P5. He's now going to push Franklin up to maybe catch Ryan Mort there for the top 3 in this pre-final B. But oh wow, Will Franklin goes a little wide exiting turn 8. Cardwell going to make him pay for that mistake and move Landon Cardwell now back into P4. Franklin back into P5 on the comp cart.
Drivers certainly swapping spots here, farther outside the top 3. About P4, 5, 6, 7, all of them in a line. No moves happening into turn 1 so far, but battle is intensifying here, Alex, with 7.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this pre-final.
Impressive stuff here from Race Beckman. We see him move to the inside of Will Franklin. Not going to make a stick. Franklin going on to P5, but Beckman, another driver like Force Adams, got involved in some incidents there in the heat 1 and 2. He really had the pace to where he shouldn't be in this pre-final B, but he is. Force Adams same way, but Beckman is matching Force Adams' pace. Force Adams last time I went purple by only 0.04 of a second, so these two guys looking to show some solid pace there. Unfortunately, going to have to start in 31st, 32nd in the main coming up later today, but showing pace that they can contend with the front runners.
And they're pretty comfortable where they are sitting, knowing they are for sure making the final later on, as will the rest of this drivers currently still on track in this pre-final. The fight for P3 raging on as drivers side by side through turn 1, turn 2, heading up towards turn 3. Will Mort leads the pack, Alex.
Yeah, Ryan Mort leading Landon Cardwell. These two have broken away from that 7-cart train. So now it is Ryan Mort in 3rd, Landon Cardwell in 4th. Where's Will Franklin falling to? Franklin's now in the P6. He lost a spot there to Christian Blevins Jr. And Blevins Jr. has actually extended his advantage over Will Franklin. So Blevins Jr. now closing the gap to Ryan Mort and Cardwell. We're going to have a 3-cart train here for 3rd, but Cardwell now takes advantage of Ryan Mort's mistake in a turn 8. Cardwell is now up to P3.
Fighting farther on behind will split that group. The fight for P3 now separating itself from the fight for P7 as P4, P5 go side by side out of the final corner. That's Landon Cardwell and Ryan Mort.
Impressive pace we're seeing. Impressive pace we're seeing from Race Beckman and Force Adams, though. 42 flats, the pair of them, a second faster than the rest of the field. These two guys have checked out over this group right here. There's the MPG driver, Ryan Mort, making a move on Landon Cardwell. So move Ryan Mort back into P3, Cardwell to P4. Here comes Christian Blevins Jr. now up in the mix. He's in 5th, looking to maybe try to get a 3rd place finish here in this pre-final B.
Yeah, fun fight developing here with just over 5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in the pre-final. Ryan Mort, slightly worse exit out of the hairpin there. He will be closed down on by Christian Blevins Jr., but no moves as of yet as they head towards the final turn and back onto the front straight, Alex.
Yeah, good exit out of the double right there for Ryan Mort. Gives himself a little bit of breathing room here over the 2 behind him, but not enough. I mean, Christian Blevins thought he was going to make a move there. He's going to push Cardwell up to Ryan Mort. They are back to the bumper here. Ryan Mort down up to turn 3, down the back straight of turn 4. Let's see if Cardwell's going to peek and nose on Ryan Mort. He's not. Mort's going to hold on to P3 for another lap.
They're still nose to tail, 4.5 minutes remaining plus 2 laps in the pre-final. Ryan Mort, Landon Cardwell, and Christian Blevins Jr. trying to solidify their starting positions for the final later tonight. Night fight for the Stars Championship Series presented by Extreme Sim Racing USA.
Yeah, battle's raging on here. Landon Cardwell's back to the bumper here. Moves him a little bit in double rights. It actually cost him more time than it cost Ryan Mort. It's going to cost him a position, actually. Christian Blevins Jr. now at the P4. Cardwell missed the brakes a little bit there in the double right. Hit the bumper. Ryan Mort got him on a half spin there. Good save for him. Christian Blevins down to P4.
He will have help from behind. Landon Cardwell pushing him back up towards Ryan Mort as they try to hunt down this final podium position in the pre-final.
Yeah, back up front, though. Force Adams a 10th quicker than Race Beckman. He's closing the gap to about 4/10. It's stabilized pretty much about this entire race. They've been exchanging quick laps here, but Force Adams 4/10 last time by. It looks even closer this time by. Force Adams go-kart is coming alive here with a few minutes to go.
Just under 4 minutes remaining. Ryan Mort getting hunted down aggressively. Christian Blevins Jr. He's arrived at the rear bumper of that MPG cart, and he's having a bit of a look. Won't go for it into the last corner as Landon Cardwell arrives at his rear bumper at the same time.
Yeah, here we go. Forrest Adams, purple, 51.9, 2 tenths quicker than Race Beckman last time by. The gap is now 3 tenths. It's not 3 tenths anymore. He's closed it to about a kart length to Race Beckman as he enters the S's down the hill into turn 6 here. Let's see if Beckman can hold on with 2 minutes to go. Forrest Adams, good exit there. Beckman, a better exit there into 7, down to the braking zone in turn 8. Beckman's going to hold on and live another lap here.
In an intense fight between two of our quicker drivers who unfortunately got stuck in this B group pre-final as they dice it out for the win here late in the race. Forrest Adams firing off 51.9, like you said last time by Alex, his fastest lap on lap 10. It's a fight continuing to develop for that P3 spot.
Here we go. Christian Blevins might make a move here. Mort, late defense. Mort goes sideways, though, exiting 12. Let's see if we can get a view of what happened there. Christian Blevins not going to make a move on Ryan Mort. He's going to stick to the bumper there of the MPG driver, but I suspect he's going to try to make a move here to enter up the hill into 3. Christian Blevins shoving Ryan Mort around this racetrack right now. Let's see if he makes a move into 4.
And he will throw the nose down on the inside. Won't actually go for it, though. Just showing the nose, letting Ryan Morton, that 812 MPG Motorsports kart, know that he is, in fact, there.
Yeah, looking up further up the field, Race Beckman and Forrest Adams still within 2 tenths of a second this time by. Beckman last time by went purple to 51.854. Forrest Adams matched him 51.895. Identical lap times being displayed here on the top 2.
And intense, close racing at the front. They are now nose to tail heading through turn 1. Minute and a half remaining plus 2 laps for the drivers at the front. 2 tenths advantage for Forrest Adams. Number 800 machine last time by over Race Beckman, your current race leader.
Ryan Mort struggling a little bit here with the tires. He's just sliding around these past few laps. Let's see if Christian Blevins, he got a good run out of 3. He might make a move in the 4, but Forrest Adams got a better run than Blevins would on Ryan Mort. Forrest Adams now down the back straight, made the move in the 4, moved Forrest Adams to the lead.
New leader late in this race. Race Beckman been leading every single lap up to this point. Finally, the pressure was put on. Forrest Adams will take over that top spot. Just under 50 seconds remaining, so we'll get 3 to go this time by.
Now let's see what Race Beckman can do. First time all race, he's been behind Forrest Adams. He's got a good run up the hill. Here we go, entering turn 3. Race Beckman got the draft here on Forrest Adams. Adams might defend, he won't defend. Beckman's going to stay slotted into P2.
And these drivers know the end goal is later tonight. No need to crash each other now. Just clean, hard racing between the two. As there are 2.5 laps remaining. Right to the rear bumper. Race Beckman looking into the hairpin. He's going to stay in line. Not willing to make that move yet, Alex.
Yeah, smart stuff there from Beckman, but Adams goes a little bit wide, exiting 8. Beckman's going to try to hold the outside in the double right-hander. That's not going to work there. Adams holds station there in P1, but Beckman back to the bumper. He might make a move here in 12. Not going to make it work. Adams holds on as they get the 2 to go signal from our flag man, Justin here. 2 to go here in KA Junior pre-final Group B.
2 to go this time by, and you couldn't slide a piece of paper between the two as they are nose to tail headed up through turn 3. Race Beckman all over that rear bumper, the 800 of Forrest Adams. Just over a lap and a half remaining in this pre-final, Alex.
Yeah, Beckman smart driving here, just pushing Forrest Adams around. He's going to wait to the white flag lap to even peek a nose at him. He knows these two have been the class of the field. They have a 10-second advantage to everybody else. There's no need to make a move and risk an incident.
And this is one of the larger margins we've seen out of the leading group over any class this weekend as they will go side by side out of the hairpin that time. Race Beckman looking around the outside again on Forrest Adams. Not going to make it work. Still nose to tail. He will try and hold the outside for another corner. He's not going to make it work through the last corner. And he's still throwing the pressure on him, Alex, corner after corner as they approach the white flag.
I don't know how Race Beckman found the grip on the outside of those double rights. Usually people try to do the crossover move there. He thought, I'm going to try the outside. It almost worked for him, but Forrest Adams holds on for another lap here with Beckman. Great run out of 3. Peaks and nose, not going to make it work. Adams holds on still, entering the bull corner in turn 4, exiting 4 there. Forrest Adams gets a little bit of an advantage over Race Beckman here to enter the S's, down 5 and through turn 6. Now let's see the exit he gets. Beckman gets an amazing exit here through 7, down to 8. He might make a move into 8. He will. Beckman late on the brakes there, makes it stick over Forrest Adams.
2 corners to go. Forrest Adams will be looking to try and take the spot back from Race Beckman. Race Beckman holding his cards close to the chest, saving that move for the last hairpin on the last lap. And no fight into the final corner. Forrest Adams will, no, is that Race Beckman comes through with that crossover move to the final couple of corners and will win your Group B pre-final of KA Junior. Forrest Adams P2, Christian Blevins just now crossing the line in P3 will be followed closely by Landon Cardwell and Ryan Mort rounding out your top 5. Alex, farther back, Kennedy Tracy, Keelan Turney, Isabella Simpson, Will Franklin, and Hudson Williams will round out your top 10 and the drivers transferring to the final later tonight.
Yeah, what a run from those top two, though. Race Beckman and Forrest Adams put 10 seconds on the entire field, running consistent 51.8s, 51.9s. Last few laps they were racing, they were in the 52 flats, but Race Beckman played it smart, stayed behind Forrest Adams the last few laps. On the last lap, went for the move inside on turn 8, made it stick. Good run for Race Beckman. Forrest Adams, solid run for him. I mean, obviously it's a consolation prize for him to get a P2 here with the pace he showed yesterday. Christian Blevins made the move stick on Ryan Mort, so moved Christian Blevins to P3 in the pre-final B. Landon Cardwell P4, and Ryan Mort falls back to P5.
That will wrap up your KA Junior Group B pre-final. Up next, quickest drivers in this class, Group A, KA Junior, when we come back.
Welcome to Ohio Kart Parts, the Midwest's largest Burrell Art racing go-kart dealer. We carry Burrell Art, Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, and Robert Kubica brand of go-karts, as well as parts from names you trust. Chassis components from Freeline, engines from IAME, Briggs & Stratton, and soon-to-be Tillotson, electronics from AIM Technologies, MG Tires, Taika Axles, seating from Tillett, Arai Helmets, and 3/10 Race Products. Visit us online at www.ohiokartparts.com, at our facility in Lorain, Ohio, or at the local track on race weekends. If we don't have it, call us at 440-628-KART. That's 5278, and we will do what we can to help you out.
Welcome back. Fight Night, part of the Stars Championship Series. We're live, warming up for the KA Junior pre-final Group A. Already problems for a driver early. Looked like one of the Trinity karting drivers. As the drivers start to get lined up, we are joined in the booth by one of your KA Stars drivers, Dalton Haynes, showing great pace early this weekend. Welcome to the booth, Dalton.
What's up?
Live on camera, you can see him here.
Hey.
I'm joined by Alexander Searle, Dalton Haynes. My name is Simon Sykes, and welcome back. KA Junior getting ready to set off for their pre-final. Coming around the final corner, heading into the tram lines, it'll be Mason Walters and Wesley Gunler leading your field down to the green flag, Alex.
Yeah, Mason Walters yesterday put on a clinic in the KA Junior class. Consistently been arguably the quickest guy here, but you know, guys like Forrest Adams, like we saw in the pre-final B, just as fast as him here as we get ready to go throw the green flag here. Lights are out. Here we go. Mason Walters gets a good start there. Austin Olds to the inside. He's going to try to slot it to P2, but what a start there from Wesley Gunler around the outside. He's going to hold on to P2. Austin Olds down to P3. Side by side all the way down through the field. You see one of the MPG guys in the dirt there a little bit exiting 3. What a start.
Aggressive racing, but clean so far. 3 drivers having to take the access route outside turn 2 as we go side by side through turn 4. Most of the field making it through clean. Up front, Wesley Gunler and Mason Walters taking off on the field. Few kart length gap behind them. The fight for P3.
There goes Roman McCurdy
on.
for third.
Roman McCurdy to the inside. Thank you, Dalton. Making that pass in for P3.
Yeah, Austin Olds didn't really defend much there on McCurdy. You see one driver around. That was the same driver that was, I believe, around there the opening stages of the warm-up lap. That was the 834, one of the Trinity Karting Group drivers. See if we can get a name to the number there, but out front, Austin Olds didn't defend on Roman McCurdy. He was the guy yesterday in Heat 1 and Heat 2. Only guy that we've seen really try to outside move in turn 8. Made it stick a few times. He might try it again here. Down towards turn 4. Roman McCurdy holds on P3 so far, Austin Olds.
Yeah, Roman McCurdy, a standout driver this weekend. It's one of his first weekends at the front, really, for a national race weekend. He's doing a great job. He's one of the kids I coach under MPG Motorsports. I'm really proud of him.
Yeah. Awesome, yeah. Taking some of the notes out of your pages there, Dalton, as we see him move to the inside. Late move from John Antonino. Antonino up to P4. Austin Olds not defending enough here, clearly. Austin Olds not the start he would have wanted, falling back to 5th, and he's now in the clutches there of Carter McMurray in P6.
Carter McMurray putting pressure on Austin Olds, like you said, Alex, but Austin has shown us quite a display of racecraft this weekend. The only driver I've seen so far to make 3 passes around the outside of the hairpin turn 8. Haven't seen anyone else do that this weekend, so kudos to the MPG Motorsports driver, the 850 of Austin Olds, currently in P5.
Yeah, the real story here, boys, is if Roman McCurdy can catch up to Wesley Gundler and Mason Walters right now.
Yeah, I mean, last time by, Antonino and McCurdy were a few tenths quicker than your 2 leaders. If they can just hook up and work together, which they are right now, that gap has closed. Last time by 5 tenths, it looks to be much closer than
Antonino
that.
wants it, though. And Antonino sends it down the inside of Roman McCurdy. Is he going to hurt his time against Wesley Gundler and Mason Walters? It doesn't look like he lost any much time.
No, Antonino maintained momentum there, late on the brakes compared to Roman McCurdy. Makes that move stick. John Antonino into P3 for KA Jr.
That field for P3 closing quickly to your top 2.
Here goes Austin Olds on Roman McCurdy. That's for P4. Oh, he gives him a little bit of a nudge. Is McCurdy going to the barrier? No, he doesn't. There goes McMurray with him. And who's that in P5 following through McCurdy?
I believe that is Isaac Malkowit there. Malkowit now followed through. McCurdy falls back even more. That is, I believe, Max Whalen and Liam Kerper move McCurdy down to P8 now.
Intense fighting so far in this KA Junior Pre-final.
That CRG
Group
looks
A.
fast.
The CRG of John Antonino has closed the gap on Wesley Gundler and Mason Walters. John Antonino has made it a 3-cart train out front. The guy I want to shout out, though, is Cash Perkins. 2 laps in a row, he goes purple, 51 flat. Last time by 5 tenths faster than your leaders. He's in P10 right now and on a charge.
And a driver we saw had issues yesterday, but showed great speed. Cash Perkins making his way through this field currently. Sitting in the P9 position, the number 863 machine. A pass there for P4. Austin Olds and Carter McMurray dicing with each other. McMurray getting the best of them that time as they come on top of the hill through 3 into turn 4. Olds sitting right behind McMurray.
Yeah, here comes Carter McMurray. I mean, he didn't have the Heat 1. Heat 1, he crossed the line first, but got the jump start penalty there. Heat 2 showed great pace, showing what we have expected to see from Carter McMurray all weekend long now in P5. What a run for Carter McMurray, and they are actually closing the gap. Sorry, P4 for McMurray. He passed Austin Olds, and they are the pair of them are catching the top 3 right now.
Yeah, and it's hard to distinguish a group so far on what's the top group and what's everybody else. They're all so close to start this pre-final here, Alex.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, here comes McMurray and Austin Olds. Let's see the lap time difference. There he goes. McMurray purple, 2 tenths faster than your leaders. It is a 5-cart train, maybe even 6 in a few laps time here.
Wesley Gundler and Mason Walters clearly went on a lower pressure than John Antonino because it looks like they're pulling away from him a little bit as McMurray catches to him.
Yeah, Antonino not really making much headway to the front 2, but falling to the clutches of McMurray here. McMurray to the bumper now of Antonino as they exit turn 6 here. Let's see the run. He gets through 7. McMurray might be able to make a move
close
into 8.
Nah, thinks better of it. He thinks he might be able to want to push Antonino to catch the leaders, and they have. Antonino is right on the bumper of Wesley Gundler. Will we see a pass into turn 11?
Certainly. 5 carts fighting intensely for the lead there. Don't forget Austin Olds following closely behind McMurray as they take the fight to these top 3 here early in this pre-final. 7.5 minutes remaining plus 2 laps for KA Juniors here, Alex.
Wesley Gundler goes for the pass. That's exactly what he needed to do.
Gundler, good move there. Mason Walters able to hold on to P2. Antonino tried to follow Gundler in. Couldn't make it work. It ruined his exit there. We might see moving to 4. We will. McMurray to 3rd. Whoa, Walters.
Gundler holds the outside around Mason Walters.
Big moves there inside the top 5 and for the lead, but Mason Walters still up front. McMurray, you can see there in 3rd. It is a 5-cart fight for the lead as they come through the hairpin. No moves that time, nose to tail for the entire top 5 here, Alex.
You see that Mason Walters pointed to Carter McMurray. He says, I'm going to go for the pass. Just wait for me. Wait till I get the run. It looks like he has the run right now.
Here he goes. To the inside, Walters late on the brakes. Gundler tries to go to the outside, can't make it work. McMurray's going to follow through.
Then he goes on Mason Walters. McMurray to the lead.
McMurray, a 2-for-1 piece there in turn 11. Walters holds the outside in the 2, couldn't make it stick. Here comes John Antonino on the CRG cart. McMurray to P1, Antonino to P2.
Walters is going to lose a lot of positions.
Austin Olds down to P3. Walters going to fall from first down to fifth now.
And no holds barred in this KA Junior pre-final. The entire top group now expanding to almost 10 drivers.
When you have that many drivers, Simon, they are going to fight the whole race. This is going to be a good one.
Absolutely. As they head through the hairpin here, we're seeing moves being made for that.
Mason Walters on the outside of Wesley Gumler going in the double rights. Is he going to over-under him?
Yeah, but here comes Cash Perkins on the 863 there on the Lando Norris cart. He just made a move for P6, the fastest car on the racetrack this entire race, has driven through the field. He's in the front group now. He's in P6.
What a drive so far for the 863. Cash Perkins, as you mentioned, Alex, they're going side by side through turn 1, turn 2, up the hill now.
Down the hill into turn 4. Let's see if we can get a camera angle on there. There's the magic card of Max Whalen, I believe, holding off Leon Kerper there for P8. Back up front, though, through turn 6, down to 7 now. McMurray holding off a charging John Antonino and Austin Olds. It's a 3-car breakaway out front, but the Lando Norris cart there, I believe, of Cash Perkins is in P4.
That's Mason Walters.
Oh, it's Mason Walters, sorry. Mason Walters still is on the P4. Cash Perkins at P6, but on the bumper now of Isaac Malkowit.
We got 4 different kart brands in the top 4.
What a sight to see early in this pre-final.
Comp Kart, CRG, KR, OTK. That is the order right now. It looks like John Antonino and Austin Olds are perfectly happy with sitting right behind Carter McMurray and pushing him. But Mason Walters looks like he's going to catch him. He doesn't have the draft right now, but since when you have 3 drivers like that, they stack up very slightly going into the corner, and it gives Mason a chance to catch him on entry and keep up with him on exit.
And we saw Austin Olds looking for a move there to the inside of turn 4. He won't get that one done. He'll stay there in P3 behind John Antonino, as Antonino closing up at the bumper. Carter McMurray currently leads this pre-final.
And here goes Cash Perkins on, who was
Wesley
that?
Gundler. Perkins now up into P4.
And Wesley Gundler's following right behind him. He pushed him through. I think it was a pass on Isaac Malka.
So now move Cash Perkins to P4. Back in front though, McMurray holding off Antonino. Here comes Austin Olds to the inside of turn 1. Austin Olds going to take it on the CRG driver. Antonino to P3, but here comes Mason Walters. Like you said, Dalton, didn't have the benefit of the draft, but these 3, as they race, are going to check up even more and bring Mason Walters back into the group.
Now the story here is Austin Olds going to pass for P1, or is Mason Walters going to pass for P3? Or are we going to see both? We'll see it in the hairpin right now.
Yeah, with 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go, these 4 are inevitably going to race. Like you said, Dalton, it's going to bring the other group into the mix here, and that group is led by none other than Cash Perkins, quickest guy on the racetrack. But here comes Wesley Gundler. Gundler made a move on Cash Perkins at turn 8.
Mason Walters looks for a move in the double rights, thinks better of it though. He checks up, loses a little bit of time. Is Austin Olds going to push Carter McMurray, or is he just going to sit behind him? He might take a look back here.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't look back, so it looks like he's content on pushing.
If yesterday's anything to go off of, Austin Olds likes to lead the race any chance he can. I believe if Austin Olds gets to the bumper of McMurray, he's going to make a move the first chance he gets. Antonino looks over his shoulder. There he goes. Austin Olds, like I said, the first chance he got, he wants that lead, and he has the lead. Austin Olds, the MPG driver, to the point. Move Carter McMurray to P2. Antonino still in P3. And Mason Walters playing it smart there in P4, letting these guys race. He's going to make amends for the mistakes they make. Inevitably, McMurray to the inside.
Olds pitches him off.
Wow, late defense there from Austin Olds on the outside. Held it there. And
Antonino around the outside. Pitches him off at the apex. That was a great pass by John Antonino.
John
Austin
Antonino
Olds taking the lead. A few kart links here separates him from the fight. Raging on behind him, Carter McMurray will take that spot over John Antonino. Mason Walters trying to follow through as we follow down the front straight. John Antonino having a look at Carter McMurray. He'll get that move done.
Wide. Good
and
pass,
all
John
this
Antonino.
serving to help Austin Olds extend his advantage to almost a half second now out front.
Yeah, good move there from Antonino. Drove him wide, like you said, Dalton. McMurray's now going to pass Antonino, or no, hold on, Antonino, sorry. So there goes McMurray back into P2. Antonino down to P3. Mason Walters still in P4, just playing it really smart. But the more these guys race, McMurray drops the tire, then the more they race. Here comes Wesley Gundler and the rest of the posse to bring P5 through P10 up into this group. Here they are. Wesley Gundler has brought Cash Perkins, Isaac Malkowit, and a bunch of other drivers now. It is a 8-kart train for the lead here in KA Junior.
Mason Walters just over under Carter McMurray, and now they've got a pack right behind him. Gundler's right on McMurray's bumper. Let's see what happens going into turn 1.
This will come through. Minute left on the clock here, headed towards turn 1. It's a fight and a half at the front. It's spread out. It's come back together. Austin Olds still leading John Antonino up front. Slight gap behind them to Mason Walters, Carter McMurray, and the rest of this fiery pack trying to set their grid spots for the night fight later under the lights here at Trackhouse Motorplex.
Yeah, with third on back racing, it's allowed Austin Olds to get a bit of separation here. But John Antonino right now has closed that gap on his own. Didn't need the help of a push.
And there's Davin Roberts. Davin Roberts started in the back of this race. Where did he come from?
Davin Roberts, what a charge through the field that we've seen from him. Almost goes purple at a 50.5 there. He's up to P8. What a run for Davin Roberts.
Davin Roberts showing strong pace yesterday and continuing in today. Unfortunately had to start from the back, but look at John Antonino going down the inside of Austin Olds and Mason Walters having a look on Olds, but not going to complete that pass. The top 5 nose to tail. Farther behind, drivers still chasing, but look, look at that, Alex.
Mason Walters and Austin Olds side by side going into turn 5. Walters gets the better of him.
What a late move there from Mason Walters. Makes a stick on Austin Olds. Olds tried to hold the outside, couldn't make it work. McMurray now goes purple at a 50.472.
And he goes to block. Antonino goes to block round the outside. Austin Olds.
Mr. Outside. This is the first time we've seen it not work for Austin Olds. It actually
McMurray peeks it on the inside of Mason Walters.
Olds goes to P3 now. Hold on. Oh, McMurray in the dirt now. He's going to fall back a few spots. P7, maybe even P8 there for McMurray. And here comes.
And look, Davin Roberts.
2 to go at the line, this time by Austin Olds and Carter McMurray catching the wrong end of that stick, going from the front down towards the bottom half of this top 10 here.
Oh, Malquitt gave a hip check there. I don't know who that was. I think that was
Cash
Perkins. Cash Perkins and Max Whalen get together. Malquitt hip checked Cash Perkins. Perkins goes wide, slides back on the racetrack, and collects Max Whalen. Super unfortunate for both drivers there with 2 to go.
Mason Walters makes a pass for the lead on John Antonino with Wes Gundler close behind. Is Davin Roberts going to have to defend Austin Olds, or is Austin Olds going to push him to catch up to Wesley Gundler and Mason Walters?
Mason Walters backed up Antonino there. Antonino to the bumper of Mason Walters, entered the double right. Antonino gives him the signal, said, please, I want to push you. I don't want to make it a 3-kart race. 1 to go here from our flagman, Justin. Let's see if Antonino makes a move in a 1. Not close enough here. Let's see. Oh, there are 2 wide there. Austin Olds has to defend from McMurray. McMurray to P5. Move Davin Roberts down to P6 now.
The fight raging on, the top 2, 3 all together, but behind them, it's crazy. It's defending Austin.
Oh, look at all that dirt on the track.
Carter McMurray to the top and the crash. Carter McMurray out, and he's spun sideways. The 840 Comp Kart machine now down, out of contention to finish inside the top 10 of this race. Last lap, though, the top 3 headed towards the hairpin. No moves this time by. It looks to the inside.
Victor Delancor comes in.
John Antonino, 1 to the inside of Mason
3
Walters
wide.
there. He won't get it done. It rages on through the last couple of corners. Mason Walters, John Antonino, and Wesley Gundler fighting for the win here through the last corner, coming to the finish line. And checkered flag for Mason Walters over Wesley Gundler and John Antonino, coming home P3.
The real story there is Davin Roberts up to P4. I'm not exactly which place he started in, but oh my God. And also, we had an off. Roman McCurdy spun out on the exit of the double rights.
What a crazy finish to that one.
Davin Roberts started on the inside of row 9 in P17, finds himself in P4 at the end of this one. What a run for Davin Roberts. Didn't have the heat he would have wanted, involved in wrecks in both of them. Drives through the field to finish 4th, but Mason Walters, like I was saying throughout that race, played it really smart, sat behind Antonino and Olds for quite some time, makes it work, makes it happen when it matters most. Walters wins the pre-final, Wesley Gundler in P2, and Antonino on the CRG P3.
Quite a few drivers were out that race. We had Carter McMurray on the last lap make contact with Austin Olds. I don't know if you guys saw, but there was dirt on the inside going into turn 4. They went to the inside, they wanted to make the pass, went through the dirt. Hit Austin Olds, ended up tapping Carter McMurray, just spun him around.
Lots of crazy storylines in that one. Drivers coming from the back to the front, contact, and everything you could ask for out of the best drivers in KA Junior Group A. Up next, Swift Stars when we come back. Stay tuned.
I'm Billy Vincent, owner of MPG Motorsports. What we do at MPG is we try to keep it a nice, fun family atmosphere, try to combine sort of the bigger things and of the bigger teams and the professionalism down with sort of some of the fun sort of family-oriented atmosphere. We try to not only develop drivers, but also the parents and the families for just in knowledge in general in motorsports. It all starts in karting. What we try to do is try to help the drivers, the moms, the dads understand the sport of motorsports in general, not just karting, but what it takes to get all the way up through. Whether you end up wanting to be a driver or a mechanic or an engineer, you know, we can help you with that, and that's what we're here for. If you're interested in joining us at MPG, our home base is at Whiteland Raceway Park in Indianapolis, and you can contact us at info@willpowerkart.com. And one of our great people will reach out to you, and we'll try to put the best program together.
All right, we are back here live from Kart Chaser, round 1 of the Stars Championship Series night fight here at Trackhouse Motorplex. Engines are fired up behind us. Coming up next, the Swift Stars.
Awesome field we have coming for you out on track. Engines are fired behind us, and we'll take you through the starting lineup here in Swift Stars. On the front row, as you can see on your screen, Lucas Palacio leading them to the pole. On his outside, Michael McGoy. Max Christie and Cameron Marcia make up row 2. Holden Harder and Fianchi, row 3. Travis Pettit and Thomas Chrisman make up row 4. Landon Boer and Marco Samut on row 5. That is your top 10. Farther back, Kai Mars, Bowen Green, row 6. Jacob Schabel, Gabriel Balog, row 7. William Roberts and Max McCorum, row 8. Tyrone Kemper Jr. and Gabriel Lopez Velarde, row 9. Ben Gleiberman and Luke Fedowitz, row 10. Darren Kidd and Caleb Tracy, row 11. Donovan Hogan, Anna McCrone, row 13. And rounding out your field, Ashton Moon will bring them around. Engines are fired. Drivers getting ready to head out on track here. Lucas Palacio, Michael McGoy on your screens getting ready to go for this final Swift Star pre-final of Swift Stars coming up shortly.
Yeah, I mean, they put on a show for us yesterday. I expect more of the same here. I mean, some of the best micro Swift or mini Swift drivers in the country right now. Lucas Palacio, arguably right now the guy to beat. He has been pretty much just top of the board in every series we've gone to, every racetrack we've gone to all year long. Right now, starting P1.
You know, what a drive so far from Lucas Palacio this year. He continues it as he will take them out onto track for your pre-final Swift Stars night fight. Round 1 of the Stars Championship Series presented by Extreme Sim Racing USA. Brought to you live by Kart Chaser.
And the drivers head on track here. Gotta get heat in the tires here. Not as important as it was like we saw last night. Still important, but last night, you know, as the night progresses, that we'll see later today, as the lights come on, sun goes down, gotta get some heat in those tires. A few guys were telling me, you know, it takes 2 to 3 laps to really get anything in the tires. Otherwise, you get just a bunch of understeer. Not as much of an issue here. It's a hotter day today than yesterday. Track's probably really grippy, really greasy at the same time, so we'll see how these guys handle it.
As they start to form up, we'll head towards the double right-handers and into the last corner before they get ready to take the green flag here. Taking you through the field, Lucas Palacio, Michael McGoy is your front row. Bring them around at a fair pace, getting the field set. And we'll look to get the green here. Alex, first time by.
Yeah, they head down towards the last couple of corners here on Trackhouse Motorplex. Michael McGoy and Palacio on the front row put on a pretty good show for us yesterday, along with Max Christie, Holden Harder, and even Travis Pettit was in that mix. He's starting P7. One of the heats didn't really go his way, but I suspect we're going to have a 5 or 6 car train here. But we'll see. I mean, Palacio has been known to, if he gets that lead, he can pull away, but this field is close enough to where that probably won't happen.
It'll be interesting to look for as they head into the tram lines, looking for the green flag. As they head towards turn 1, drivers slow down, lights are out. We are green for Swift Stars pre-final. Lucas Palacio with a great jump through turn 1. They'll go side by side through turns 2 and 3, all clean so far throughout the field as we get set to kick this pre-final off, Alex.
Yeah, Max Christie immediately slotted into second place from third. Little bump and run there from Michael McGoy. I think McGoy just pushed him out the way there. He's back to P2, so McGoy lost a spot. Now he gained it back. McGoy to P2.
Great racing to start us off here. Nose to tail farther than I can see on screen with all the drivers competing for that top spot. We'll see a move to the inside immediately. Michael McGoy taking over that top spot. Lucas Palacio getting shoved all the way back to possibly third, fourth spot as he tries to contest that P3 position, but ultimately will not hold it as he falls to fourth.
Wow, what a move there. Palacio's going to fall back from first to fourth in 2 corners. Shows how easy it is to do that, holding harder around the outside of the double right. Palacio wants that move immediately back. Doesn't really have the run he would have wanted. It's going to throw it to the inside of turn 1. Lucas Palacio back to P3.
And like we've talked about all weekend, Lucas Palacio, a guy that wants to lead every lap of every race. He will be working his way back towards the front and making that pass as soon as he gets there.
There you go. Max Christie trying to push Michael McGoy away from Palacio. Like you said, if Palacio gets that lead, it's really hard to challenge him. So really smart driving for these guys to push Palacio back to P3 and make him race his way forward here as Christie pushing McGoy. Doesn't want to push him any longer. To the inside, he's through. Max Christie to P1. Palacio follows him through to P2 there. Michael McGoy down to P3.
Side by side, even Hold Harder is going to lose position out of that through the double rights as there's mixing throughout the entire top 10. Lucas Palacio, Max Christie.
Yeah, I think that was
taking off out front.
I think that was Travis Pettit there making a move up to P4. So move Pettit to P4, holding harder down to P5. It was Travis Pettit to P4 now. Whoa, late move there. Oh, couldn't make it stick. Palacio, your leader.
Palacio makes a nice move down the inside of turn 1, and Michael McGoy throws it down the inside, tries to make it stick, but ultimately comes up just a bit short. He will retain the third position, chasing down Max Christie.
Yeah, Palacio, good move there. Like we've been mentioning all race long so far, Palacio, he likes to lead all. Bit of a mistake there from Michael McGoy. Drops a tire, gives Pettit a decent run here. Pettit won't take advantage of that. Here we go. McGoy didn't get the braking zone he would have wanted because of the dirt on the tires. No grip under braking. Pettit now getting held up for these next couple corners.
Yeah, and a lot of fighting throughout the entire field here. Still nose to tail throughout the majority. No big gaps in between as we see a move there to the inside for, was that P3? And Travis Pettit making his way by Michael McGoy for that number 3 position in this pre-final.
There goes Kai Mars. Kai Mars inside of Landon Brewer. Move Kai Mars to P7. He's the man on the move right now. We have about a 6 or 7 car breakaway besides Palacio and Christie. So let's see if those two guys keep working together here. Palacio last time by, fastest of the group, second fastest car on the racetrack last time by. He's going to try to pull away from this group. And
what's crazy is we have to go all the way down to 17th position to see our fastest lap of the race. Ashton Woon in that 195 car setting 53.825 to Lucas Palacio's 53.852. So the whole field close, consistent, and hard fought for every position on track.
Ashton Woon, and just unfortunate, one of those guys got involved in some things in the heat races, didn't really go his way, had to start in the back of the field for this race, already up from 25th to 17th. Let's see where he slots in this time by. See Travis Pettit go purple at a 53.465. Ashton Woon now up to 16th place, another position gain for Ashton Woon.
And a good drive for the young driver. A 195 machine, a 53.8 again that time by, showing he has the pace. But 53.8 is not that much quicker than a 54.0, Alex, and that's what the pace is throughout the field here. So it's a lot to ask to make up a lot of positions when your advantage isn't that much over the rest of your competition.
Yeah, at what point does Max Christie try to make a move here on Palacio? Because that group behind him, Travis Pettit and Michael McGoy, at this point in the race are quicker. There is Travis Pettit. He is on the bumper now of Max Christie. And I think if Max Christie can't make a move work on Palacio, we're going to see Pettit go for a move as he, I thought he was going to go for it just like 2 laps ago. Thought better of it. He might push Christie up to Palacio, but we'll see. Inside of turn 1, Travis Pettit, the Trinity Karting driver, he's through to P2. Move Travis Pettit up to P2. Christie down to P3 there, and they're on the move trying to catch Palacio.
Palacio still holding his advantage out front, running 53.4s by himself, the fastest lap last time by. Travis Pettit in that 129 machine with a 53.141, but the goal is not to let Palacio build a gap. If he can break that draft range, it's going to be incredibly hard to run him back down. So everyone making passes, but wanting to stay right up next to the bumper of the 102 machine out front.
Yeah, right now it's a 4-car breakaway out front, but Fianchi, quicker than your leaders last time by. He's making the jump. There he is, 5th kart in the shot there. Green helmet, OTK. Fianchi moving his way up there in P5. Travis Pettit back up front, though, pushing Palacio through turn 11. He might make a move here in turn 1 like he did 2 laps ago. Looks over his shoulder, sees Christie's there, won't make a move in turn 1. He's going to hold station there behind Palacio, up the hill through turn 3. Palacio gets a little bit of breathing room here, but down the hill, gets a push from Max Christie. Travis Pettit to the inside of Palacio. Palacio looks over his shoulder, sees the 2 drivers, lets them through. Pettit to the lead, Christie P2, Palacio now down to P3.
Palacio not going to want to stay there for long. Right immediately back on the bumper of Max Christie. Travis Pettit with an awesome drive up, put himself at the front of this field in that Trinity Karting Kart Republic number 129.
Palacio threw a late move there on Max Christie. It didn't stick for him. Oh, and Michael McGoy got the pair of them for about half a second there, runs a little bit wide and lost out quite a bit there. Now he's falling to the clutches of Fianchi and the rest of the group.
Desperately trying to throw Lucas Palacio back any way they can, but he'll make the move into P2, passing Max Christie as they head up the hill. Turn 3, he'll tap the back of his helmet, trying to get any help he can to run down the 129 of Travis Pettit out front.
Look how much it costs you. The second you go for a move that doesn't work out, Travis Pettit has now extended his advantage to about 7/10 of a second here, but Max Christie is going to push Palacio back to the front here. They've already closed that gap. It was 7/10 last time by. It looks to me to be maybe 3 or 4/10 this time by. Palacio making the jump back to the lead.
And a relatively long pre-final for these young drivers, more like a chess match as they go 3 wide into the double right corners outside the top 5.
Yeah, Michael McGoy went from being P4 to P6 this lap. He got pushed around a little bit by Holden Harder and Fianchi. So move Fianchi now on the OTK to P4. Holden Harder on the all black, black suit, black helmet, up into P5. Michael McGoy down to P6. Kai Mars joins in on this group. He's in P7 now.
Up front, a look to the inside. Palacio going to go for it, and he will take the lead, possibly over Travis Pettit in that number 1 position. We're seeing 2 wide farther back for the 4th, 5th, and 6th spots, but it is Lucas Palacio will take that lead spot over Travis Pettit as the 2 drivers hook up and try and leave the rest of the pack.
Yeah, Palacio last time by 5/10 faster than Travis Pettit. No wonder he went for the move on Pettit. He was so much quicker than him. He had no choice. Further back though, Max Christie and Fianchi, if they can hook up, they can maybe make it a 4-kart race, but right now it's a 2-kart breakaway out front.
A lot of tandem running we're seeing here between 2, 3 driver groups as they try and work together, take advantage of the draft, and push each other forwards.
Yeah, Fianchi has caught to the bumper of Max Christie. Last time by, 2nd fastest car on the racetrack was the OTK driver of Fianchi. He's to the bumper of Christie. He's to the inside of Max Christie. He's ahead of Max Christie. Fianchi now to P3.
The drive for the 153 Tony Kart, now up into the P3 spot. Last lap by though, Lucas Palacio, 53.2, his personal best, and only a 10th off the fastest lap of the race. He's doing great work there out front. It's going to be a tough task for Fianchi to get whatever help he can to run down these leaders with 3 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this race.
Yeah, 3 minutes plus 2 laps. It's about 5 laps to go in this race. Pettit is still on the bumper here of Lucas Palacio. He's going to just hold station most likely for the next couple of laps. He's a smart driver. He knows he turned back. He knows that they have quite a bit of an advantage over the rest of the field right now. Fianchi, by his lonesome, really has no chance with a 1.5 second advantage unless those 2 race up front.
53.3s for the top 2 compared to the 53.7 of Fianchi. He is not making into that gap. It's now a 1.5 seconds from P2 to P3 now as those top 2 drivers are working together beautifully. As we look farther back and see the battles, the tail end of the top 5 here, Alex.
Yeah, the problem Fianchi faces right now is that he was too quick for the group behind him, but not quick enough to catch up to the group ahead of him. So now the group behind him has settled down. They're pushing. That gap that was half second is closing ever so slightly here. Fianchi's going to fall back to the clutches here of Michael McGoy soon.
As we round the final corner Starting a lap with 2.5 minutes remaining. Palacio still out front, 54.3, 54.4. They are checking out on the field. 53.8 for Fianchi that time by. 2-second advantage, and Fianchi being run down 3/10 of a second slower than Michael McGoy that time by, as we see the pack forming up, and we'll see a move to the inside, move that Michael McGoy past Fianchi into that number 3 spot, Alex.
Yeah, just like I suspected there. Fianchi had no benefit of the draft, no benefit of somebody pushing him. He was all alone. The second Michael McGoy caught up to him, he made the move stick in turn 4. Fianchi, let's see if he pushes or not. Kai Mars, he said, if you're not going to pass him, I'm going to pass you. Kai Mars to P4. Fianchi's going to fall back a few spots there, move him down to P6.
Fianchi started this lap in P3. Make it P7 by the time we get to the end of this lap. Not the lap he wanted. He's fallen all the way to the tail end of this group, fighting for the final podium position here. Minute and a half remaining. We'll get 3, maybe 4 laps left of racing here, Alex.
Yeah, back in front here. First we're going to see Fianchi make a move there, holding harder. Fianchi back to P6. Back up front. Last time by, Pettit and Palacio just exchanging the identical lap times here. Pettit pushing Palacio on the racetrack. There goes Kai Mars. He went for the late move there. McGoy pinches him off.
In a tough battle for that final podium position out front, those two are locked up together. They aren't making moves yet. It's too early to fight for them. They have decided. So this fight for P3, the most exciting action on track, as Kai Mars goes to the inside. He'll bring one with him, and they will get by Michael McGoy.
Yeah, Kai Mars, good move on the brakes there. McGoy's going to hold on to P4 there. I believe that is Cameron Marsha, actually. Cameron Marsha now making a move there. Michael McGoy, Cameron Marsha to P4. McGoy's going to go for the crossover. Marsha a little bit wide on the brakes there in 11. McGoy back to 4th there. And here comes Holden Harder and Fianchi to take advantage of that mistake there from Marsha. So Marsha from 4th down to 7th there in one corner.
And crazy fighting. This 3rd to 7th group exchanging positions rapidly with 3 laps remaining in this pre-final. We'll see a move to the inside and a big crash. Is that Michael McGoy? Who is that? The 157 and Holden Harder will be the victim of that. Unfortunate for him as the racing keeps going.
Yeah, Fianchi a little over-ambitious there on the brakes. Just timed it a little bit wrong there. Got the rear tire of Holden Harder, spun him around, unfortunately.
Unfortunate for him. Kai Mars, Michael McGoy out front of that second group currently. Lucas Palacio and Travis Pettit still dominating out front. They will come by, and it is 2 to go this time by. Sticks in the air. 53.2 for them last time by. They are so consistent, so fast, stretching out 0.8 on that lap to the group behind. Now 4 seconds behind them. We'll see if the fight breaks out here on this last lap. They've locked nose to tail for this entire race, but with half a lap remaining, what can they do here, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, Travis Pettit's doing what he's done all race long. Push Lucas Palacio away from everybody else. Make it a 2-kart race. They have a 4-second advantage over 3rd place driver Kai Mars. Pettit doesn't want to stay second any longer. Travis Pettit to the point. Palacio with the crossover move. Let's see what the exit he gets. It's good enough. Palacio's going to defend out of double rights. Pettit with the crossover move into turn 9. Pettit to the lead now with 1.5 laps to go.
And the fight officially breaking out here as they'll come to the white flag this time by. Palacio will get the crossover in the inside line heading to turn 1. Pettit defending low and trying crowding him down, but Palacio will make that move stick through turn 1, and he will take the lead of this race with 3/4 of a lap remaining here in the pre-final.
Yeah,
Stars.
Palacio goes low into 4, then goes middle. Pettit has nowhere to go right now, has to hold station here behind Lucas Palacio. They're going to climb the hill through turn 5, through the S's, down towards turn 6. Pettit all over Lucas Palacio, who gets the better exit. Looks to me like it's Travis Pettit. Palacio's going to have to defend in the 8. Looks over his shoulder. Pettit looking for the crossover move like Palacio did on him last lap. Not going to make it work. Palacio with a good enough exit possibly. Pettit now for the crossover here in turn 9. He's going to go on the outside of Lucas Palacio. Look at the run Travis Pettit has. Not enough though. Lucas Palacio holds on to the lead so far to the inside of turn 11. Travis Pettit looking for the crossover. It's not going to be enough. Lucas Palacio holds on a win here in the Swift Stars pre-final.
Another win for Lucas Palacio. Who can stop him now as we head to the final? He will start your field off. Travis Pettit coming home P2. Kai Mars with a nice drive to P3. Michael McGoy P4 and Cameron Marsha rounding out your top 5. Behind him, Fianchi P6. Thomas Crispin P7. Ashton Woon with an awesome drive up to P8. Landon Boer P9 and Marco Semu rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, what a race there. I mean, Lucas Palacio doing what he does best, gets out to a lead, makes it a 1 or 2 kart race out front, and then battles towards the end of the race. That race played into his hands perfectly there, but the 2 kart public drivers make it a 1-2 there.
As we saw a lot of awesome racing on display, a lot of racecraft, and a nice fight to end that here in the Swift Stars category. When we come back, KA Stars Group B, your elimination pre-final when we return.
Welcome back to Trackhouse Motorplex for the 2023 Stars Championship Series night fight. And for the second time this afternoon, it's a do or die session, this time with a lot more that unfortunately will end up below the cut line. 28 drivers entered for the KA Stars B pre-final. This is the bottom 28 from 31st back to 58 after heat race points were tallied. Alex Murray, Talon Drake, Byron Daly, Mason Surgeon are your first couple, along with Colin Hayes, who had a DQ in one of his seats, a big favorite to win this one. But it's not just winning this pre-final that's important. That puts you 31st in the main. You've got to get to the top 10. The bottom half will go home. Here we go for KA Stars pre-final B, the last chance to make the main event tonight. We're underway down to turn number 1. Let's see if they can all make it through the opening chicane up the hill. So far, so good. As they'll head down the back straightaway, it'll get a little bit wild there in the midfield. One driver way off, 2, 3 off the racetrack there at the top of the hill in turn 3. They'll try and re-enter, but a long way back forward for those pilots as they head through the bowl.
And a chaos to start this elimination pre-final with those drivers probably not going to make the cut. Will be the end of their days and weekends here for night fight, as we see fighting inside the top 10. A lot of moves being made early on this opening lap.
Yeah, that was Colin Hayes on your screen making a move on Abby Adams. Abby Adams is still under fire from Moore. She'll lose 3 spots net coming out of turn number 9 as they climb the hill to the final turn just ahead of the RPM Tony Kart of Brandon Adkins. But Colin Hayes on the move. He crosses the line there, P5. Here's a move again. Adkins looking, not going to go on Adams there through turns 1 and 2. And it's a tightly packed top 10. That group goes back to about 14th with Gabby DaCosta at the end of the opening lap. You can see everybody going low to avoid the dirt. We'll see if it catches anyone out here. It did already in that KA Junior pre-final. So far, so good for the leaders on through. Murray, Talon Drake, Byron Daly, your top 3. Mason Surgener, the first of the next group. Although he's got to come under fire. He's already lost, or he's actually challenging on Daly into the hairpin. Here goes Surgener to the inside. He'll take over 3rd. Hayes trying to follow. He cannot. He'll tuck in line. Good start for Lars Wilson up to 6th. but it's the Marinello, the Prodigy Motorsports machine of Alex Murray that leads them up the hill as they round the final turn. Look how close we all are. At this point, it's still very early. A lot can happen, a lot can change. Daly under fire for fourth. Colin Hayes will go through, and Daly gets a little nudge there from Lars Wilson, reminding him he's got a lot more company on the way if he can't get his Prodigy Motorsports Marinello to roll. Down the back here into 4, looking low. Wilson back for P5. Gonna get through on Byron Daly, who's side by side as well with Vance Bowersock. Will hold on to that spot. It'll stack him up, and here's a look again at that bubble position right now. This is 7th in the white helmet on the red and black Marinello is Daly. He's 7th. He'll lose that spot now to Vance Bowersock. Back to 8th, back to 9th, and all of a sudden now Brandon Adkins gets through. He's in the safe zone. Abby Adams around the outside is back safer now, and who is going to shake out to the back 10 as they go up the hill? This is the danger zone. GR Cardoni right there on your screen in the MPG Motorsports Will Power Kart trying to get back in. Daly was looking on Adkins, going to lose another spot, and now he'll drop behind Harbier Doss as they go up the hill, and that right there, that is 9th, all the way back to about 14th, as up front they're still fighting here, and a lot could change. We've got a new leader. Talon Drake's taken over, and it looks like Alex Murray just slotted right in there to 4th behind Colin Hayes.
Talon Drake leading this one over Mason Surgener, quickly stretching their advantage to top 5 within a healthy margin out front beside that second group where they are fighting to make the cut into the final later tonight.
Yeah, we'll see how everything shakes out here. Still early on in this pre-final, a lot of time to go. 9 minutes plus 2 laps still left, so there's still plenty of time for a handful to work their way up the order and into the show. Across the line, Mason Surgener leads over Drake, Hayes, Murray, Wilson, as they've traded spots a handful of times in that top 5. All they're gaining or losing right now is just a couple starting positions by fighting like this. But Colin Hayes, his makes a little more sense. Had he not had a disqualification in his second heat race for being half a pound light, he probably would have been safely into the top 30, maybe at a top 15 starting spot. So the local kid, Colin Hayes, now showing the way into the hairpin over Surgener, then Drake, and then Moore as side by side we go down. Out of 8 here, it is Murray versus Lars Wilson. That'll even out. And back further, still more battling at the edge of the bubble spot. Byron Daly, Gio Cardoni, Tristan Altman. That's this pack right there coming up the hill. Change for the transfer spot. Gio Cardoni trying to get it onto the front straightaway as Daly hung tough on the outside. He gives way, and a change in position of who is in or out. Byron Daly now on the outside looking in. Gio Cardoni is in the show in the MPG Motorsports Kart Republic with a lot of time left. Speaking of Kart Republic, his teammate Mason Surgener is blocking up there for second, Simon. A little bit early to be doing that and a little bit overzealous to do it in the lead group when you got a gap out back.
Yeah, absolutely. All this fighting up front, it's going to drag the back half of this top 10 towards them, which will affect the bubble spots in the transfer. So the more these front drivers fight, the more this second pack is going to grow as it expands into one large leading group now with only small margins in between all of the drivers.
Here comes the leaders up the hill to turn 11. Alex Murray signaling back to Lars Wilson saying, dude, what are you doing? We know that pack behind is catching us and you keep on trying to fight with me, but either way, they both have lost time, whether it's because of Murray being too slow in the front or Wilson trying to get around him. The top 3 now have gotten away. Hayes, Surgener, Talon Drake, they look pretty safe up into the bowl. Then Murray and Wilson, and here is that gap back to Gio Cardoni and Daly there, that next group that went through the bowl right there. So through the infield, here we go. Back through turn number 6. You've got Cardoni, the white helmet of Byron Daly on the red and yellow Marinello. Behind him, you've got Tristan Altman in that black Pro Kart Concepts OTK out of the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania club track. Then further, you've got the likes of the AEM, or the privateer of Gabby DaCosta in 13th trying to fight her way in. Cruz Labrie trying to get into the show, a Stars Championship competitor from 2022 on the DR North America entry. As we go side by side up ahead of them, this will bring them back into the mix. That second group starting to fight some more. Abby Adams bringing the cavalry on through. She'll knock her way up into 4th.
Abby Adams with a strong drive so far, one of the drivers that was near that bubble position, now at the front of that group as they continue to fight side by side through turn 4 here, Xander.
Yeah, they're still just hurting time a little bit. And it's allowing that third pack to kind of catch back up with Cardoni and Daly, and that's what those guys need, because if they can get back up to this next group here, they might be able to get a little bit further into the show. Again, that white suit and that red and white MPG Kart Republic center your screen of Gio Cardoni. He's the last driver right now in the transfer zone, able to move on to the main event. Out of the final turn here, Lars Wilson making a move back on Abby Adams to retake that fourth position. And that'll stay neutral down to turn one. No big moves out of this pack that's about to get pretty massive. Up front, the top three still happy to run in the order they are. Hayes, Surgener, and Drake on through. Now they're going to battle again. Adams on the inside. Wilson slams that door shut right in front of her.
Tough fighting just outside the top three here. The top three, nose to tail, they've checked out. They're secure. They know where they're going to start for this next race. But this group behind them still fighting intensely. Abby Adams, Lars Wilson, Alex Murray, Brandon Adkins, everyone going at it. A massive group we're seeing developing here, Xander.
Yeah, this is going to be really big here. Side by side through turn number 9. Change just in front of the transfer zone. Harbier Doss getting around Vance Bowersock for the 8th position. Puts Bowersock back on the bubble of maybe having the bubble spot get to his bumper here. The top 3 go through. You can see the hand signal from Gio Cardoni. He wanted to work with him. He wanted to get Daly to push him, but it's going to be Daly, if he does, pushing him by his prodigy teammate of Vance Bowersock. Through the bowl, it's all one long line of go-karts. And as we always say here, at one point, the pack does explode, Simon. They get too many together, and something happens, and we lose a handful of drivers. I don't see that happening yet. They're not super tightly packed, but we're closing in on that demolition point.
All it takes is one big move, one dive bomb, and this whole field could be spread apart. Gio Cardone, driver in P10. I've yet to see anyone sit in that bubble position more today than he has. So constantly sitting in a position of risk, but surviving so far with 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this pre-final.
And just like that, Byron Daly getting thrown to the wolves, his dancing partner, as it looked like a good run for Tristan Altman. He took care of it in the final turn, and then Gabby DaCosta went by for 12th. Daly now falling back. Here is Bowersock back on Harbier Doss. So now he'll retake 8th away from Doss. And Daly falls further away. Cardoni gets some separation. Tristan Altman now is going to need to see if he's got enough speed to run back down that MPG Motorsports Kart Republic. If not, Gabriel DaCosta is closing in. This will help. Side by side, Harbier Doss to the outside. Here comes Cardoni. Side by side, he'll run them both wide. Altman gets on in. He gets through, and now Harbier Doss is on the outside looking in. Up the hill we go.
Big move for Gio Cardoni there. He'll shove it in, make the pass, but end up losing a position. He'll come out even, but will separate the group slightly. Still P10 for Cardoni, but as you can see, the pack starting to split up here. All it takes is one move like that, Xander.
Yeah, Tristan Altman goes from 11th to 9th. He gets into the show now. So Altman on the bumper of Vance Bowersock. Daly trying to get around Cardoni. He knows that's the finals place in the big dance, and time is of the essence. 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Daly starting to look a little better and get his elbows out. He started 3rd. He has faded back the worst of the top 10 drivers here at this point. Through the infield section we go. No changes yet. Cardoni getting a big run towards Vance Bowersock. Daly on the bumper through turn 9. They'll kind of accordion coming out. Gabrielle DaCosta with a run on Daly. Does she go in the final turn? She does not. Daly right there on Cardoni coming down the front stretch. Close, not close enough. DaCosta looking. She won't go either. No changes through 1.
Still a minute and a half plus 2 laps remaining. Cardoni sitting on that bubble spot consistently. A little gap out front of him, but behind, all the pressure is mounting. Colin Daly still looking for that move down the inside.
Yeah, Byron Daly here still right on the bumper in that white and blue helmet on the red and yellow Maranello. Just behind the white and red of the MPG Motorsports KR Cardoni. Nobody making any dives into 8. Actually, there's one. Harbier Doss makes a nice move on the Rocketech Motorsports Kart Republic. And up in front. Oh, big contact there, bottom of the screen. Doss gets together with Gabrielle DaCosta, and DaCosta goes off. She's out, and Doss is going to fall out of the show as well. That's right there, a big mistake. Time is of the essence here. Cardoni trying to drive Byron Daly all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. They are both barely in the show now, 9th and 10th, as Tristan Altman is getting away, and Vance Bowersock now sits on the outside looking in. Here goes Daly to the inside. He'll bring his teammate with him, and he'll send Cardoni back to the outside looking in as a big mistake from Cruz Labrie there through the bowl.
Hard fighting here for that final transfer spot. The two teammates making their way past Gio Cardoni as he will sit a few car lengths behind them, but a nice bit of relief. The first time in a while he has not had immediate pressure behind him. He'll tuck up to the two karts in front of him and look to try and take those spots back.
Let's see if he can get back on into the show. Tristan Altman there just up the road a little bit here. The timer will hit 0, but the leaders have already gone by the line, so this is 3 laps to go. You are watching the fight to get into the big dance here at the Stars Championship Series night fight in KA Stars Pre-Final B. A little bit of changing up for the lead. Colin Hayes still continuing to show the way over Mason Surgener and company. Here's the group further back. Again, right in front of that group, Tristan Altman is 8th. Byron Daly is 9th. Vance Bowersock, the second of the 2 red and yellow Prodigy Motorsports Maranello karts, is on the bubble. He's pushing Byron Daly forward. He doesn't want to throw his teammate out of the show, but he also has to take care of himself because he's got 2 hungry Kart Republics right there. Look at the driver that's come from way back. How about Kyle Raymond? A nice over-under on Gio Cardoni in the TKG Kart Republic. He's come from deep in the field, and the 912 was nowhere 5 minutes ago. Now with 2 laps to go, he's on the bumper of making it into the top 40. That will race the main event later on tonight. Up the hill, 2 to go here, Simon.
2 to go, and Gio Cardoni from being safe down to P12 now. Pressure is on in this group of 5, all fighting for that transfer spot. The 2 Maranello karts will go by on, who was that, Tristan Altman, I believe, to take that spot and secure themselves a transfer spot. Now puts Altman into pressure behind from Cardoni and
Raymond there. Kyle Raymond on that TKG green and white Kart Republic out of turn 8. There he is. Big run for Altman. Terrible exit for Vance Bowersock. He's got Altman on the bumper. A little love tap. It hurts Altman. And now Kyle Raymond is into the show. He gets by in turn 9. White flag up the road. The leader's still with a healthy margin over the pack as Colin Hayes continues to lead the way. We're watching the battle for the transfer spot, and Kyle Raymond has come from way back on that TKG Kart Republic. He is now in the top 10. Now, how aggressive does he get to go even further? Does he know where he's at? Here's a move from Bowersock on Daly. This could open the door back for Cardoni and company. Daly hanging tough on the outside. Raymond's got to get back in before Altman gets there. He does. Through the infield we go. This is 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. Only the top 10 get to race under the lights this evening. Side by side back for 11th. Cardoni with a half cent on Altman. Look at Kyle Raymond with an over-under, but he'll be on the outside of Daly. They go side by side, wheel to wheel. Daly falls back. Here comes Altman. This is for the transfer spot. Side by side, up the hill. Final turn. Daly defends. He should be safe. He is safe. Byron Daly's in. Raymond is in. Altman just misses out there in 11th as Colin Hayes wins pre-final B. And that was about as much of a barn burner as you can ask for when it comes to a last chance qualifier, Simon.
5 karts fighting for the transfer spot the entire race, never holding back. In the end, Byron Daly closing out that bubble spot, but what a race here. Group B, KA Stars. Up next, your KA Stars again, but Group A this time, the faster of the 2 groups to set the front of the field for the final fight night later tonight. Stay tuned for more action when we come back.
Yeah, we'll have that all here coming our way. Let's take a look really quickly as well here. Again, Kyle Raymond, 10 spots gained from 19th on the grid to 9th to race his way into the big dance. The top 10 will make it. Hayes, Surgener, Drake, Wilson, Murray, the top 5. Tristan Altman, Gio Cardoni, Brenna Schubert, the final, the first 3 on the outside looking in that come up just shy of making it into the show. John Balin, 14th. Harbier Doss ends up 15th after his collision with Gabby DaCosta. She falls down to 19th. Carson Sauter, Stephen Richard, Ian Morrison, Tim Benningfield, and then Alec Vidal, Tom Engblom, Cruz Labrie, Chris Sielkowski, Sam Catanese, Jake Phillips, all will miss the main event here in KA Stars. But what a run for Colin Hayes. Did exactly what he needed to do, and what an impressive performance. You always see it in a last chance do or die event that one driver is able to make that Superman run through the field. Tonight, the spotlight goes to Kyle Raymond on that Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic from 19th to 9th with an impressive run to race his way in. We'll be back with more. The top half, the top 30. It's time to set the front half of the grid for their main event tonight. Welcome back to Trackhouse Motorplex, host of the 2023 Stars Championship Series night fight. We're still picking up the pieces from that B pre-final. If we haven't already, let's go ahead and take you through what's to expect here. Aiden Levy and Adam Brickley, a couple of Kart Republics, will line up on the front row, both of them scoring the wins in their respective heat race groups. Hayden Jones on the TKG KR makes it 1, 2, 3 at front. Then the first of the OTKs is that GWR Tony Kart of Spencer Conrad. The rest of the order we'll give you in a moment. Let's take, here we go, engines fired. We'll continue on through the rest of your lineup. For pre-final A, you've got row 3, Max Taylor. What a performance yesterday with 0 practice time at all. Just a warm-up session, qualifies 5th. Dalton Haynes, who ran our onboard camera, when across the line first in heat number 2, got a 3-second blocking penalty. It dropped him down the order 6 spots, and he will line up in that 6th position after the points were tallied for the pre-final. Row 4 will have Emery Lida to the inside of Emerson Reed. Row 5, Mick Gabriel, our top qualifier, rolls off in 9th alongside Oliver Piatek. Then it'll be James Overbeck and Lucas Zabo. Aiden Hatcher on the outside of row 7 alongside Finnegan Bailiff. Row 8, Thomas Annunziata and Hudson Brown. Dominic Tesoro Ratesworks CRG rolls off on the inside of Matthew Maccabee's OTK. Presley Whitney and Garrett Davis make up row 10. Row 11 will be Seth Stowe on the Timmy Tech Comp Kart to his outside Eli Warren's Jimmy Simpson Racing Red Speed. Row 12, then you go further, Sam Avrutsky and Ben Lida, Carter Thompson, Jake James, Drew James, Gunnar Ray, Logan Mueller, and Seamus McKendry. Really good for Seamus McKendry to at least have made it in on points. He was having some bad luck, of course. Had such a great run going in the second heat. Keep an eye on Seamus McKendry to drive from the tail end of this A pre-final up the order to line up for the main event. The nice part with the format, again, keeps the tire wear even for the drivers that made it in versus the drivers that had raced their way in the show. In fact, these guys might end up racing a little bit harder than that lead pack did for Colin Hayes, because it's not about just staying above a specific cutoff line. This is trying to position yourself in the best place possible to win the main event and score the most championship points as well. They'll round that final turn. All 30 of the top 30 after heats 1 and 2. Half of them haven't raced each other since qualifying or final practice. So now they're all on the racetrack, all together. The best 30 thus far this weekend in KA Stars at the helm of Aiden Levy, the privateer Alonzo Kart, alongside fellow privateer Adam Brickley. Down to turn number 1. We're on the power and we're green to the first corner for KA Stars pre-final A action.
Side by side through turn 1. So far so good as they're 2x2 coming up to the top of the hill through turn 3. Aiden Levy still retaining that lead. Will go low to defend into turn 4 behind them. Spread out 2x2 through the rest of the field.
A little bit wide there as Dalton Haynes got up onto the curbing going into turn number 4. Everyone else going to cycle in nicely here initially through 5 and 6. So far, so good for the pack. It's Levy over Jones. Jones going to block a little bit into turn number 8. Brickley behind. They're shuffling a bit further back as we saw Gabriel Lowe blocking on Overbeck. And now he'll go to the inside of Emery Lida. James Overbeck will try to follow. Lida shuffle to the outside. He's got Finn Bailiff looking on, trying to get in line as well to the final turn, and that'll hurt Emery Lida's chances as he gets pushed back outside the top 10. Meanwhile, up front, still single file, your running order as they are, headed through the chicane and up the hill. It's Levy, Jones, Brickley, Taylor, and Conrad. Problems for Lida. Oh, he got shuffled wide through 1 and 2, and Emery Lida having to run on the escape road there is way slow. He'll drop all the way to the rear.
Tough break for Emery there. Had a strong pace all day yesterday, was running well, but unfortunately will start from farther down the order in your final later tonight. Up front, the entire top 6 nose to tail as they go to work.
Through the double right-hander, Spencer Conrad a little wide. Dalton Haynes right on his bumper. Oh, big contact here. First up, one of them, the 929 machine down in turn number 8. That is going to be Drew James up and on top of Sam Avrutsky's eyes up racing Tony Kart. They'll get unhooked at the exit of the hairpin, but heavy damage to both cars, and that will end their day essentially. Elida dropped all the way back to 25th. We'll see how quickly he can get up there. McKendry as well. Back to the leaders, though. Through turn number 4, here we go. Change in the lead. Hayden Jones has taken over the top spot from Aiden Levy.
Hayden Jones leading right over Aiden Levy in P3. Adam Brickley still staying there. We'll see a move to the inside. Just defense, though, won't actually go for it there further back. Looks like Dalton Haynes wants to go side by side. Spencer Conrad as they head through the double right-hander, Xander.
Dalton Haynes giving him a little bit of elbow grease on the way by, and that'll bring Emerson Reed through as well. One point Dalton Haynes was a little frustrated with last night is they were okay with a little bit of pushing and shoving from what he got from the officials after a long talk following his penalty of a bump and run like that, where he set up Conrad, gave him a little love tap there going into the corner, and then got around him. Hard racing, elbows up, and it worked out. Haynes is now up the order into that 5th position. Conrad is down to 7th. It spread out the leaders just a smidge. Jones still showing them through turn number 6. Levy, then Brickley, and then again Max Taylor on that BJR MDR red speed. Into turn 8, Conrad trying to make up lost ground. He'll go by Emerson Reed for 6th. No changes up front still as Haynes tries to close back in on the leaders.
And Dalton arriving very quickly back onto the scene of this top 5. We've split into 2 groups, your top 5 and the next 5 to make up the top 10. Dalton Haynes, the end of that first group as we come across the line. And still Hayden Jones, Aiden Levy, Adam Brickley, Max Taylor, and Dalton Haynes fighting to start up front in your final later tonight.
Through turn 3, down to turn number 4. Aiden Levy to the inside, takes Brickley with him, so changing the lead again. Hayden Jones back to 3rd, and Levy wants to helm the ship for now. Still very early, still about 8 minutes plus 2 laps to go in these lengthened pre-finals, so however much they trade the position, they're doing it in turn 4 where they really don't lose too much time. And if you look at the lap times there, that is holding true. They haven't given up any time to Spencer Conrad back in 6th, and they've actually pulled away from the rest of them. So here's Conrad. Emerson Reed about to come under fire from James Overbeck. That's for position number 7. Gabriel right there. Challenge for 2nd. Hayden Jones inside and clear, turn number 1.
Hayden Jones back up to that P2 spot. Aiden Levy taking off out front. He's got about a cart length of gap. Look inside, and Adam Brickley trying to take it back over Hayden Jones. Won't make that move stick, and will immediately come under pressure from Max Taylor and Dalton Haynes right behind him.
Yeah, I don't know if he was trying to just fend off Max Taylor or if he was trying to go on Jones. It looked more like defensive driving to me, but either way, Taylor's saying, all right, fine, you think I'm going to go around you? I will go around you. He did overcook it, though. Nice crossover from Adam Brickley out of turn 9. He stays in 3rd, Taylor 4th, Haynes 5th. He's kind of trapped there at the end of the lead pack, and as he looked back over his shoulder, there is company now on the way. Spencer Conrad and James Overbeck hitting their new personal best lap times the laps prior. They're on the move, and they picked up a couple tenths thanks to the battling for P3 and P4. Through turn 4, Wait for it to switch. There we go. Through turn number 4. A little further back there. We'll pick it back up over in the infield here. Your leaders headed on through the corner over at turn number 6. Hayden Levy still showing with Hayden Jones, and now with the opportunity to potentially break away if they can get another pass for third, which they will. Taylor back on Brickley. Side by side, Brickley an emphatic pointing forward saying, dude, they're walking away from us. And Dalton Haynes going to finally work his way by Brickley. He jumps over the runoff area, falls back to 5th, and Taylor got what he wanted. Now he's going to need to fight hard to keep it because they are not going to be willing to wait behind him. He's got to show that he's fast enough and deserve that pass to keep that position as Brickley loses another spot. Going by for P5 was Spencer Conrad.
And Haynes is going to want to tuck right up to that rear bumper of Max Taylor, see if they can chase down Levy and Jones out front. A little farther back, still 2x2 through turn 4. More hand signals. Let's go forward, guys. No one wants to fight right here. They just want to keep going forward.
Down into the turn 8 hairpin here. Taylor still looking good. In fact, he looks really good, I feel like, in ahead of Dalton Haynes. Haynes has not yet gotten to the bumper. They've got to worry about Spencer Conrad, though. He's looking sporty. James Overbeck was the fastest of the top 10 last time by, quicker than even the top 2 that have broken away. So let's see if the pack can tighten back up here at the end of this pre-final. Down to turn 1, Haynes finally closes all the way up to Taylor's rear end. And through the turn 1-2 complex, they click half a tenth off the lead. 7/10 back still. They got a long way to go, but they're getting there if they can stay in line here, Simon.
And don't forget about Spencer Conrad and James Overbeck lurking there in the background behind Dalton Haynes. They are making some good headway into this front group. Still Levy and Jones out front with about a 5-car length gap to Max Taylor and Dalton Haynes behind, Xander.
Yeah, out of turn 8 that time. Taylor looking really good there on the bottom end power. He pulls away a little bit out of the very slow sections. Exiting turn 9. Here's a look coming up the hill. Still single file for your top 10, and down the front straightaway we go for the lead. Jones looking on Levy. Didn't go by the laps prior. Still, I think, behind indeed as they go up the hill, but he might want to go soon because Max Taylor just broke into the 49-second barrier. That time 3/10 better than the race lead. He's got it, the draft now. He'll close on up, and he's going to connect the entire lead pack because Haynes is riding along with him. Conrad is there. Overbeck and even Brickley has not fallen off all. On the other hand, then you go back from Brickley. Mick Gabriel has faded. Emerson Reed has faded a bit. Oliver Piatek started a little further away. He runs around the 10th spot as well. But I think we'll see as many as 7 packed up tightly for the lead group here if it happens. Taylor still looking good. Haynes following through the last turn. They'll come down the front stretch. He went by him. Haynes went up to 3rd.
Haynes making a strong run here, back up to 3rd place, trying to chase down those top 2. Like we said last time, Max Taylor extremely quick. First driver to break into that 49-second bracket. Still the only driver to break into that 49-second bracket so far. So what can Haynes and Taylor do to make inroads into the lead by Levy and Jones?
Yeah, through turn 6 here we go. Let's see. Dalton Haynes, I don't know if that was a little bit too early or not. I think Taylor felt like it was too early. He felt like they were almost there. Conrad now tries on Haynes. Can't get by, but Max Taylor will. And oh, man, big contact there. Overbeck hops over the right front tire of Adam Brickley, and James Overbeck falls all the way back to the edge of the top 10. That was an awkward coming together there, Simon, going into turn number 9. I don't even think that Overbeck knew Brickley was alongside him.
Yeah, in situations like that, you think you're clear, but a driver might have their nose cone, a front tire up near your rear end of your kart. So unfortunate contact there will send Overbeck farther down the order. Back up front, we got a pack of 2 and a pack of 3 chasing them, Xander.
Yeah, Max Taylor gave up a 1/10 of a second, passing Dalton Haynes to the leaders. The gap now back up to 1.1 seconds. Hayden Jones happily continuing to push with Hayden Levy, get him further up the road, further away from the pack as they exit turn number 8. And now with just 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go, it might be a little bit too late for Max Taylor to close back up unless Levy really gets aggressive on his defense. They're just, I think, outside the range to get any help off the rear end of Hayden Jones across the line. I don't know, I could be wrong. That was a 3/10 swing. Big time gains for Max Taylor that time by on Hayden Jones and Hayden Levy.
They're only a half second back now. to these leaders. I think they're going to start to get racy. Dalton Haynes looking the inside of Max Taylor. He'll get that done, and look who goes with him. None other than Spencer Conrad making his move. Max Taylor not going to let that one slide, though, as he retains that position. 4th spot for Max Taylor. Dalton Haynes taking the lead over the second group. They were a half second behind last time by, but this is going to extend the advantage, Xander.
I'm surprised to see it. I don't know what Dalton Haynes' mindset here is with this move, because they were catching the leaders. They were almost there, and now he's done it twice where when they've gotten within half a second, he's passed Taylor, and then they have lost the margin. Maybe now he feels a little bit stronger with his Kart Republic. Across the line, thanks to the pass, they're back to 9/10 away from the lead. And now with even less time, in fact, we're down to the final minute plus 2 laps to go. It'll either be 3 or 2 remaining here at the line. Taylor wants it back from Haynes. Haynes going to run him tight into 4. They'll stay side by side on exit, and he has to give way. Taylor gets himself cleared again. So Max Taylor back to neutral for the 3rd time here in this one.
And Taylor seems like the driver with the pace to catch these front 2 currently, as we see Spencer Conrad make a dive down the inside of the hairpin there. We'll come back to 3 to go this time by. So in 3 laps, what can Max Taylor do to make headway into this massive gap that's formed out behind the front?
Yeah, now at least he's got a different driver behind that might be willing to stay with him all the way forward. They did hit the timer, did not hit the timer that time by. World black flags being given, but 3 laps to go. So now the timer will hit 0. 2 laps will be added on at the line, and we'll watch them go through the bowl once again. Here's the next group. Mick Gabriel, Emerson Reed, Oliver Piatek. Pretty tame pre-final from their eyes after Gabriel and Lida passed each other early on. It's really just been kind of a riding show for them. They don't exactly have enough speed to run and catch down the leaders. Maybe they'd be close enough where they could hang with them lap to lap, but they're just a tick off in 7th, 8th, and 9th, or 6th, 7th, and 8th, sorry. Hudson Brown 9th, Adam Brickley's faded all the way to 10th, but a very quiet race for these 3. 2 to go for the leaders down the start-finish line straight here, and Aiden Levy, the last lap, gave up just a little to Hayden Jones. Max Taylor trying to make one more charge at it. He's 1.5 seconds away. Won't be able to get there. Down the back here, Jones closes up. No move there. Into 4. Nothing back for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, or 6th, 7th, and 8th.
And a tough fight here. A group of 2 out front, a group of 3 behind them, and then 3 more drivers fighting for those 6th, 7th, and 8th positions behind that. Mick Gabriel, Emerson Reed, and Oliver Piatek making a run near the end of the race. Big moves. Max Taylor getting shoved down the inside. Spencer Conrad and Dalton Haynes going to take advantage, close down on the outside, and make the pass on both of them as he goes through to the 3rd spot.
Just like that, Spencer Conrad, the senior rookie, getting really racy here. It's going to bring that next pack up. A couple of rookies going at it. Taylor's got the spot. He's going to need to defend low into 1 because Conrad won't push him. And now into 1, Conrad tries the move. Taylor shuts the door. Conrad backs off. He'll lose his spot to Gabriel. Here comes Emerson Reed. Back up front, battle for the lead as well. Aiden Levy starting to defend from Hayden Jones. So battles all around. We'll go back to the leaders here for the final part of this lap. Through turn 6, it's a mono-y-mono battle. Into the hairpin. Levy versus Jones. They've done it plenty of times here for the local championship. How good of a crossover? Oh, a great crossover from Hayden Jones. He'll get clear by turn 9. Now back on Levy for an equal move. He can't do it. That motor's still a little bit bogged down from the hairpin. Hayden Jones, the veteran, puts one over on Aiden Levy. He will win the pre-final here in KA Stars.
What a drive from Hayden Jones, sitting patiently in P2 for most of that race before making his move. With less than half a lap remaining in this pre-final, he will lead your grid to the final later tonight, barring any penalties, which I don't think we've seen. But look at that, Dalton Haynes making his way up into P3. He'll start inside row 2 for the final later tonight. Max Taylor, P4, and Mick Gabriel rounding out your top 5, Xander.
I think everybody is going to look at the lap charts here and see the fast times. They're going to be very fearful of Max Taylor. We'll wait for the rest of the drivers to clock on through before we pull our results on screen, but here's how they finished for your top 10. Jones, Levy, Haynes. Again, Taylor was faster than anybody else, the only one in the 49-second bracket that time by. He ends 4th. Gabriel, Reed, Piatek, Spencer Conrad, Hudson Brown up 7 spots as Brickley goes from the front row all the way back to 10th. Then here's the rest of the group. Lucas Zavo, James Overbeck might have bent something when he went off the racetrack. He ends up falling all the way down to the 12th spot ahead of Aiden Hatcher, his teammate out of the BJR MDR camp. Matthew Mockabee, Dominic Tesoro, your top 15. And then Ziada Ben Lida picks up 7 from further back. Eli Warren picks up 4. And for Emery Lida, the best he can manage after getting knocked into what might have been the wall when he took the access road in turns 1 and 2 on lap number 2. He rebounds to 21st. So that's the aftermath from KA Stars Pre-Final A. We've got some more intel with Alexander Searle down on pit lane. Alex?
Yeah, thanks, Xander. Here with AJ Myers. AJ, while you may not be racing this weekend, you're kind of Mr. Magic, right? You're coaching every single driver we see this weekend with the Magic Kart USA stickers on. Right now, P1, P2 for the guys in KZ. How do you feel? How confident are you right now?
I mean, confident. The guys have been doing good, but it's early. We still have the pre-final final to go, so we got to see how this one plays out and see what we're working with going to the final.
Yeah, I mean, talk to us about the progression you guys have made throughout the weekend, right? Talon's been quick all weekend. Andy's been getting there, super quick in Heat 2, starting on the front row. How good have these go-karts been right now?
No, we haven't done much all weekend, just kind of left them alone and worked on the driving. But along with these guys, we got guys in the back making huge strides, a lot of new drivers, a lot of getting into the shifter now, and just seeing strides and progress.
All right, thanks, AJ.
Good to hear and good to see. One of the big 3 here on site this week. And AJ Myers lives not too far down the road here in North Carolina, and he spends a lot of time here at Trackhouse Motorplex working with a number of the Magic Kart USA drivers throughout the course of the week here, week to week, month to month. Keeps him fresh, of course, when he's behind the wheel. But we just saw him, of course, get that big monkey off his back with his first Pro National win of the season last week in Houston. And he's here, obviously, with a big smile on his face and no stress from his point of view, just rooting everybody on under the Magic Kart USA factory camp. And like Alex said, heck of a starting lineup for them with Talon Yockel, who has been strong. We heard him last night with his post-race thoughts that were uploaded earlier on today on YouTube that, well, outside of minimizing mistakes and when it gets a little bit colder and the sun's off the racetrack, got to keep the tires up a little more, feels pretty confident. Just go out and send it. In the meantime, we've got a quick commercial break while there's a little more kart recovery going on right now. So stick with us. We'll have more coming. Pro Stars and OKN Stars coming your way next.
Hey guys, and welcome to GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. We're here to show you the fastest way around this racetrack. Key takeaways from GoPro Motorplex are the speed bowl. Drivers want to use the camber of the turn to slow the kart down, rather than overbraking on entry. As it's a long flowing corner, the constant turning of the steering wheel is bringing their speed down. Drivers with confidence can make up time on entry to this corner and using the embankment to their advantage. Once the kart is stabilised around halfway point, you can apply the throttle with confidence and know that you're going to get a fast exit. The 180-degree hairpin.
Well, it's about that time. Pro Stars coming into the staging lanes as we get set for their pre-final here this evening. The sun just starting to poke its head a little bit beyond the tree line, but for Pro Stars drivers here, everyone's been chasing one in particular, the number 2 plate holder, the vice champion from 2022, Talon Yockel. It'll be Colin Daly, who was second quickest in morning warm-up to him, but he has to start further back after a big crash in the opening heat race. Annie Rule, his Magic Kart teammate, joins him on the outside. A little bit of an issue here for one driver at the back of the grid on the start. They'll refire. That goes all the way back to, I believe, Jonathan Ocasio. Stalled it on the box, so he will get sent around again before we go to the light sequence, and he'll drop back one more row behind David Carmody. Gives us time to go through the rest of your starting grid, with Yockel and Rule on the front row. Vincenzo Saraceno and Ian Quinn will make up row number 2. Zach Frank, Jason Enrique, row 3. Colin Daly and Jake Donald on the Kart Republic will line up on row number 4, so keep an eye on that DR North America entry of Colin Daly to roll up from 7th towards the pointy end of the grid. We know he's got top 3, top 4 level speed. And behind him, how about Josh Conker, the Rockstar subclass champ, the number 3 plate holder. The Canadian had an engine issue off the line in Heat 1, said it was strategic tire saving. Well, he does definitely have about 10 less laps on his MG Yellows than everybody else in the field to this point. They'll be all on brand new sticker MGs for the main event, but for now, this is where Conker can use that to his advantage with a 9th place starting spot. To his outside will be Gavin Bailiff on the Trinity Karting Group Kart Republic. Had the chain come off, running inside the top 5 in yesterday's final heat. Puts him back to row number 5 in 10th. Justin White and Michael Riccio will make up the 6th row. Row 7, Corey Milne and Tegan Poles. Row number 8, Safik Hadik the 2nd. He'll be by himself. And then row number 9, Robbie Campbell, David Carmody, Jonathan Ocasio to the rear. Everyone looks good on the 2nd attempt. Let's go to the light sequence for Pro Stars, the pre-final. It is set as the engines sing, and off the line, maybe a false start, maybe not. Annie Rule jumped it, and it looked like she kind of tried to gather it back up, but Talon Yockel will lead them down the backstretch for the very first time. As they head over to turn number 4, into the bowl we go, single file up front. Annie Rule leads the rest of the pack as they try to hunt down that black, blue, and orange Magic Kart of Talon Yockel. Through the infield this time we go, and into turn number 8. Still single file, 1 or 2 ducking down to the inside. Side by side further back as they go. Colin Daly will get around Zach Frank. He'll bring Josh Conker with him. That'll trade up the spots just a little bit as they come out of turn 9. Up the hill we go for the first time. Battle for P3 here. Ian Quinn under fire from Vincenzo Saraceno, looking for 3rd as the leaders go tight down to turn number 1. Can Saraceno get there? He can. And the reigning series champ is up to P3.
Yeah, what a slide job type move there from Vincenzo Saraceno. Threw it into turn 1, forced Ian Quinn to turn out of it. Textbook move there for Vincenzo Saraceno. Further back here, Gavin Bailiff fighting with Jacob Donald, one of the Burrell Art guys. Good move for Bailiff there in 4 as well.
Yeah, very good move for Gavin Bailiff. Saraceno a little bit sideways coming through 6th. He's got a gap to hunt down the 2 Magic Karts that are out front. Single file further back, and now Ian Quinn has spent a lot of his heat races moving forward. He's now got more pressure out back than he's had all weekend long. Jason Enrique on that black and white GFC is right there. Bumper looking inside, not enough in the final turn. He'll stay in line. He's got to go soon though, because the amazing Jamaican Colin Daly's on the way in 6th and Conker's there in 7th. There it is. Enrique through to 4th. Over under from Quinn. Up the hill to 3. Quinn gets it back. Enrique another over under. Now Daly's going to go on Enrique. He'll bring Josh Conker trying to go with him. So is Gavin Bailiff. He will not get through, but Conker will. And through the chicane, no, he does. Muscles his way by Enrique, who loses 3 spots after trying to gain 1.
Yeah, Jason Enrique there went for the move for P3 and Ian Quinn. Made it stick for about half a second. Ian Quinn with the crossover move, and in turn loses 4 spots there to Daly, Conker, and Bailiff. The 3 drivers on the move right now.
Up the hill, Colin Daly is looking for that 4th spot. He'll take it away from Ian Quinn. He'll run him a little wide there. Quinn tried to get in line. He'll lose another spot to Josh Conker. Move the Canuck up into the top 5 as Josh Conker continues to follow through the wake of Colin Daly in their charge forward. Up front, you can see Saraceno's closing in, but the battle is in the midfield. There's a nice move there from Gavin Bailiff. He'll take over the 6th position away from Ian Quinn, and the QG3 karting Charles Leclerc kart falls all the way down to 7th, with Enrique in 8th. Looking on in 9th is Jake Donald. 10th is Zach Frank, headed to turn 8.
Yeah, Ian Quinn, unfortunately, is getting muscled around right now by 3 of the veterans here in the shifter class, Daly, Conker, and Bailiff. Now, I consider him a veteran in this class, been doing it for a few years. Josh Conker, I got a chance to speak with him before the race. He says he feels really confident. He said if he can get around Colin Daly within the first few laps, he thinks a 3rd place is on the cards right now, and he's closing in pretty close to Colin Daly. Here we see a move for Jason Enrique on Ian Quinn. Ian Quinn has to turn out of it, and then Donald now gets through as well.
Yeah, nice move by Jake Donald to follow Jason Enrique through. He's still looking on him. Turn 4, and the Kart Republic North America factory driver Jake Donald gets his way up the order in his return to the seat in about a year's time. The former CKNA Grand National champion, multi-time U.S. Pro Kart Series champ Jake Donald doesn't have too much experience with a gearbox machine. He's making it look pretty good right now coming through the grid as he's gotten around Enrique, gotten around Quinn, and Quinn even lost a spot there as well to Justin White, who has gone up to the 9th position. So this is the midfield fight as they go up the hill. And while we look at them, we'll keep an eye on the top 3 because Vincenzo Saraceno is continuing to close on 2nd place Andy Rule. He picked up another 10th of a second last time by, and the Carbolos Racing Team Marinellos run 3rd and 5th to the Magic Kart USA drivers in 1st and 2nd. Nobody, though, has anything right now for Talon Yockel. My goodness, is he moving. The number 2 plate driver, long gone, 1.3 seconds ahead of the field as they head through the hairpin.
Yeah, like you said, Talon Yockel absolutely rolling right now. Purple last time by 4/10 faster than 2nd and 3rd. Further back, though, Colin Daly and Josh Conker matching Talon Yockel's pace right now, but they're in 4th and 5th. Had to start mid-pack here, so we'll see what Daly and Conker can do.
Well, let's go side by side here for a moment. 7 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Keeping an eye on the tabs of where everybody's at. They've spread out here for the most part, and a lot of our faster drivers that started further back in the field have clawed their way into the top 6 as they run. Yockel, Rule, Saraceno, Daly, Conker, and then Gavin Bailiff at the end of that train in 6th. Oh, we got problems on the side. That is going to be, looks like one of the, might be Michael Riccio in the 419. One of the Magic drivers, if not Sophic Hotic. So we'll ID that one in a moment. I believe it is indeed might be Tegan Poles. Tegan Poles in the 427 might be out there as well. Yeah, indeed, Tegan Poles, the driver, off over by the inside tire wall. Let's go side by side here, down to Simon Sykes on pit lane. Simon?
Thanks, Xander, here with Dalton Haynes, your 3rd place finisher in KA Stars Group A Pre-final. Take me through your fight with Max Taylor.
Oh my God. I mean, me and Max were working together for most of the race. It was a good race. I mean, I got a good start. I look back, we had a pretty good gap, so I worked with Max for a while. Spencer Conrad, couldn't shake him. I wanted to get away from him with me and Max. Couldn't shake him, and every time Spencer would get really close to me, I'd be worried, so I'd make a pass on Max, and we would just chip away. We were chipping away at the leaders, and every time I made a pass on Max, it would slow us down again, and the gap would stretch again. And then at the end there, I didn't think I had much left for him. Spencer got into it with Max, and I just over-undered both of them, pinned Spencer off at the apex of the double rights, and got 3rd.
Well, good job in that race, and good luck in the final, Alden. Back to you, Xander.
All right, look at this here. While Dalton Haynes, who went away for maybe just a lap, it has heated up here for the lead group. Alex Daly is there on Saraceno, and so is Josh Conker. 3, nearly 4 cars lined up nose to tail. 5 minutes and 20 seconds plus 2 laps to go. This battle for the top 3 starting spots is far from over.
Yeah, like you said, here comes Colin Daly and Josh Conker. The inroads that Saraceno was making, late lunge there. Colin Daly gets into the side of Vincenzo Saraceno, and there through goes Conker on both of them. Colin Daly too late on the brakes, couldn't make it work. Runs to the side of Saraceno, holds on though to just keep his car intact to live another lap.
Yeah, Saraceno definitely heard Colin Daly coming. He went low to cover. Daly went even lower, and he tried to stay off him. He locked the rear brakes up, and it spun him sideways. And unfortunately, he ends up losing 3 spots and overheats the rears in the process. Saraceno survives, like you said, to back to 4th, but it's a great move as the seas part for Josh Conker. He gets by the reigning champ and his new teammate for 2023. now into third and can try to set his sights on Annie Rule for second, who is about 1.3 seconds up the road. Let's go down trackside here for some more intel from Simon Sykes during this little bit of the gap in the battle, as Saraceno has to deal with Gavin Bailiff. But for the moment, it looks like they've all situated themselves decently well. So good stuff for them here for the moment. But down the front stretch we go. An update, 4 minutes plus 2 laps. Oh, wow. This actually might be worth sticking on. Look at Bailiff. Bumper looking inside. He made that look easy there in turn 3. Might have been too easy as Saraceno nearly gets a crossover. Daly back into it. Sends it on Saraceno. This time he gets through and he gets into the top 5 again.
Yeah, this time the late move from Daly pays off. He makes a stick on Saraceno. Saraceno, we don't know if there was how much contact was made between Daly and Saraceno. The kart looks to be not maybe as handling as good as it was early on in the race, but like I was saying before the contact of Daly and Saraceno there, Saraceno, the in-road teammate on Annie Rule, we're slowing down. That kart maybe just falling off quite a bit here in this race.
Let's go side by side here as we go up the hill. Daly starting to go to work on Gavin Bailiff. Your leader is still Talon Yockel. Annie Rule second. Josh Conker hunting her down in third. Simon Sykes is caught up with our Heat pre-final A winner in KA Stars, Hayden Jones. Simon?
Thanks, Xander, here at the front of the grid with Hayden. Hayden, you won that pre-final. You'll start on the pole for the final later tonight. How'd you do it?
Well, I was just following Aiden the whole time. I saw that we were getting a gap, so I just kept pushing, waited for the last lap. He blocked, and I just got a better run.
Awesome. Well, good luck in the final later. Wishing the best. Back to you, Xander.
There you go. A good last lap for Hayden Jones. We're still keeping an eye on 2 battles now. We've been watching this battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th for quite some time. Bailiff versus Daly versus Saraceno. At the same time, Josh Conker is closing up to Annie Rule lap by lap. 2 minutes 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. Another 2/10 better for Conker. They're still losing time to Talon Yockel, but in the battle for second, it's going to get close. Look at Daly again getting close on Bailiff into 4. He won't be close. Oh, he was. Daly able to get around Gavin Bailiff for 4th there in the bowl.
Colin Daly, Mr. Late on the brakes this entire race. Besides the move that didn't work from in turn 8, that is back-to-back laps. He's made a move in turn 4 with a late lunge there on Bailiff. Move Colin Daly back into P4.
Nice move by Colin Daly on the DR North America factory machine. He'll lead that 2-0 out of turn number 9. Blue and black flags waving for the pack as the leaders round the final turn. Now our focus shifts back forward. Can Josh Conker arrive on the scene? 2 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Another 2/10 taken off. It's half a second now from Annie Rule to keep that Magic Kart USA 1-2 alive, or Josh Conker will be able to split them up and get the Carblos Racing Team Marinellos a front row starting spot for the main event. He's 3 car lengths back headed through turn 5.
Yeah, the question is, Xander, I mean, the last few laps, he's been about 2/10 quicker than Annie Rule. Is that enough to overcome the aero wash that inevitably he's going to have to face in these quicker corners?
It's a little bit different, especially for the gearbox guys, because they can kind of take different lines and adjust their style. It doesn't hurt them as much as the class that we hear coming up the road with the OKN Stars. The biggest thing for Conker is having to wait to get on the power if the line is significantly different. Let's take a look at how they are through turn 1. How much deeper does he go into the corner? You can see how much narrower he's going in than Annie Rule there. Through turn 3, same thing, a little more narrow. You can see him have a little slide, but he was able to stay pretty much inner tire track, so didn't lose too much through it. And it's been a really impressive run for Colin Daly to make moves into turn number 4. He's really been one of the few shifter drivers we've seen make passes at the end of the back straightaway. Most of them happen right here in the infield going to turn 8, and a handful down in turn 1 or the final corner. But out of the hairpin, Conker's definitely there. Half a car length away, 3.5, maybe 4 to go through turn 9.
Yeah, the name of the game here is, like you said, Josh Conker throughout most of this racetrack turns in just a little bit earlier than Annie Rule, stays away from the aero wash, and yeah, just able to get a good drive off every single time. Annie Rule so far putting together a really impressive performance here, holding off a guy like Josh Conker. You know, he got his maiden national win earlier this year at St. Pete. Looking for more here in the Stars Championship Series night fight. Let's see down to turn 4. Nothing there. Annie Rule holds on to live another corner.
Yeah, they've stabilized out now. Conker was 2/10 better, catching up to her. Now he's kind of fallen down to her pace by running in that dirty air, having to wait to get onto the throttle, having to be careful about how deep he goes on the brakes. Here's a deep move. Nicely done, and he gets it done, and Rule misses a shift coming out. Here comes Daly. and the Jamaican takes third. Gavin Bailiff now gets into the mix here, looking for P4. So one pass, one mistake. Rule loses 2 spots and is in jeopardy of losing another, as some of the veterans of the Stars Series here taking it right to her. She's become a veteran in her own right now, and I believe her 3rd, if not 4th full season in Shifter, and a big 4-wheel jump for her over the curbing in turn 2. While her teammate Talon Yako leads out of 4, she's under fire into turn 4 from Bailiff. He could not get the job done. A lap and a half remains.
Yeah, Annie Rule there, kind of a victim of a textbook pass by Josh Conker. Made it stick, threw it in late and deep there, parked it on the apex, missed the shift, couldn't get the traction she really wanted there with the wrong gear selection. Colin Daly took advantage of that, and now she has to hold off Gavin Bailiff here. Round of the double right-handers. She's holding station there behind Colin Daly, keeping him honest. I mean, if Daly makes a little bit of a mistake here, she's still in a prime position for a P3.
Down the front stretch, white flag in the air, 1 to go. Rule looking a little better now as she survived the onslaught from Bailiff. She's starting to mount a challenge back to Colin Daly down the back straightaway. So Conker, Daly, Rule, Bailiff, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. They are now 6 seconds behind race leader Talon Yockel, who is way gone. We've watched him all race in the early parts, haven't paid much attention to him since. A safe ride home, it looks like, for Talon Yockel, as nothing will happen further back. He'll round out a turn number 9. There is that next group there coming in 8. But Yockel up the hill, final time. Talon Yockel's solid weekend will continue with a pre-final win in Pro Stars.
Yeah, good run there for Talon Yockel. See if we can get a view of the battle for 4th there. Annie Rule is going to hold on to beat Gavin Bailiff to the line there. That's going to put her on the outside of row 2 for the final. So good run for her. But running you through your order really quickly, Talon Yockel with a 6-second win over Josh Conker there. Conker had to drive through the field, started in P9, finishes 2nd. Colin Daly, same sort of deal. Had to start there in P7, finishes 3rd. Annie Rule from 2nd, made that one mistake all race, cost her some time, finishes 4th. And Gavin Bailiff, good run for him to finish in the top 5.
So there we go, checkered flag in the air and wrapped up for Pro Stars, and we go from them here through the top 10. There's your movers and shakers. Gavin Bailiff, Justin White, kind of an underrated impressive run there to get all the way up to 6th. He ends up getting around Saraceno, who must have had something go wrong there in the final few laps. His speed faded heavily, and he ends up with a 4-position net loss. Big gains from the back for Carmody, for Ocasio and company. Problems, of course, for Michael Riccio, taking poles with a DNF apiece. Corey Milne falls back. Stafik Hodek falls back as well. But for the final headline division, the final of the 2 we've got, with Pro Stars off the racetrack to the Pro OKN Stars class. Brandon Carr lines up on the pole. Of course, he hasn't really run behind anyone all day, while Alex Stanfield got to experience a little bit of it in that first heat race. The second one, he had to come through the field and prove you can pass, and showed us where and how to do it on that team's GWR Gillard. One thing of note here, as we look further back there through the grid, a driver we have not seen all weekend, and in new colors, something we haven't seen him in an American karting scene driving this colored go-kart in quite some time. Aboard a Hutt Brothers Pizza Racing Tony Kart, Brent Cruz, a late entry after running in the Cars Tour late model stock race last night, finished 5th after having to come from the back in an incident. He is lined up on the grid to join the first ever OKN East Coast event. And with the first ever group at 16 drivers strong, he's got his work cut out for him. So we'll see how far up the grid Brent can get going here in OKN. Brandon Carr and, of course, Alex Stanfield, like we said, will make up the front row. We know Brent will start tail end Charlie. Let's find out who starts where in between. With row number 2, of course, a great run through the heat races for Julian DaCosta. And that first heat, especially around this time of day yesterday, that Privateer OTK was hauling the mail. And Julian looked like even in heat 2 he had a lot of speed, was still figuring out how to race with it. But he's now going to have an easier position to try and do that, starting P3. To his outside, Josh Holtz from the Holtz Driver Development Camp will roll off to complete row number 2. Keegan Bosch and then Nicholas Terlecki, row number 3. Henry Wheeler and Max Taylor, row 4. Wes Duchak, Brooke Knockman, row 5. Eli Fox and Spencer Mast, row 6. Jarrett Bank, Braden Domey, Brent Cruz, Aiden Fox, Ryan Raffa, and problems for Julian DaCosta getting off the grid. That's going to stall everybody. Everyone else has been good getting going. This is going to get awkward for the field here. We'll see if everyone can get fired back up, because they've got to pull them back. The Stars officials saying they don't want anyone pushing past that white line down the access road. So this is going to get a little awkward, and it's just a factor of the track design here at Trackhouse Motorplex with just a tightening grid that goes onto the circuit. So they're going to back him up. Let's see if we can get Nachman underway. Almost. A little more shove for her. DaCosta can get around. He's back under fire. Now Brooke Nachman struggling to get fired up. About half the field made it out. The inside lane did. The outside lane did not, getting off the grid. Nachman trying to let the whole field go, and I think they may do one more attempt to get her going. Let's see it. There at the bottom of your screen on the SCR Red Speed. There's the field. Really, they've been good all weekend about not being everyone being able to fire off and launch nicely. This is the first start that's been a little messy of getting everybody off the grid. And, of course, the reason for this, these OKN karts are direct drives. So where the shifters are a bump start and then they bump into gear, push forward into first, these guys, it's a single gear, and it's driven strictly off the axle. Every other class here this weekend, an onboard starter for your KA divisions and for your mini and micro classes. But for the OKN, new for the U.S., new for the Stars Championship Series here this weekend. And outside of a couple hiccups in the first practice, everyone was pretty good. And sure enough, when we get to situation Saturday and the pressure's on in the pre-final side, we finally have a little bit of issues. We'll see if Nachman can get going.
Yeah, tough break for Nachman there with troubles early. Still sitting on the top of the grid as we start to get these karts around the track. Some of them got stuck on the grid, so it takes a little bit longer to get everyone formed and lined up. But coming through the infield now, they will start to cycle around and head towards the final corner. Nachman still sitting on the grid. No luck so far for it.
Yeah, no movement over there out of the BJR SCR camp. I think Brooke Nachman, unfortunately, may be watching this one from the sidelines. While everyone else could fire up, that's going to move a handful forward here. Nachman was slated to start decent in that one in 10th on the outside of row 5. So to move Braden Domey up. Aiden Fox gets to move up. Ryan Raffa gets to move up as well. So we go from 17 down to 16. Here we are in the start lines, and they are going to wave it off one more time. The Nachman camp going to line back up.
Looked like one driver was a little bit late getting to formation there, so take one more lap, get everyone set, and then get underway for our pre-final in OKN.
Yeah, a little commotion behind us on the grid, but at least on the racetrack, I think we'll be set to go. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. There we go. So all cleared on the grid. Unfortunate for Brooke Nachman to be unable to run the pre-final here. Won't make a difference on tire wear for the main event, of course, because everyone will be on brand new tires. Oh, no. They are going to get her fired. They're going to give it one more shot. Let's see. Can she get it underway? Not going to happen. One final heave for Brooke Nachman off the grid. It will not be enough, it looks like, to get the number 30 powered up. So Nachman will have to bring the kart stand in. That will do it. I think that might have been the reason for the wave around there one more time, was to try and give her one more shot to fire that engine up. We saw, of course, Paulie Massimino helping try to bump start her on the second try when she stalled coming out of the grid down the access road. That didn't work. They pushed her back in the grid, tried one more time, wouldn't happen. So now, case finally set for the rest of the pack. Into the tram lines we go. Brandon Carr, Alex Stanfield looking for the green. We've got it down to one. Stanfield tries to hang tough on the outside. Carr runs him wide, and up the hill we go. For the first time down the backstretch here this afternoon, OKN Stars are underway. Great start for Josh Oates from the outside lane to third.
Awesome start. Everyone clean through 4 corners as we head side by side through turn 4, heading around to the midsection of the track. Turns 5, 6, and 7 here. Still Brandon Carr out front ahead of Alex Stanfield in P2, Xander.
Single file into the hairpin, a couple passes further back there. Let's see where Brent Cruz has got himself up to. There is a look at the Hunt Brothers Pizza Racing Tony Kart. He's up already, what looks to be about 5 positions. Keep your eye on Brent Cruz as he climbs the hill, looking for another on Keegan Bosch. He'll take it away with new sticker MG tires in warm-up. He was the fastest. And look who's fast as well early. How about Josh Oates with a big dive on Alex Stanfield for second? He now has to gain 3 car lengths back to Brandon Carr, and he's got Julian DaCosta lined up. Stanfield wants it back, though, in turn 4, and he'll take it away.
Some great fighting early here in the OKN pre-final. Obviously, moves being made. The aero wash not affecting too severely yet. Brandon Carr still your leader. but Brent Cruz.
Whoa, big bobble. Josh Oates around in front of the field. Oates there, you can see he had DaCosta on his bumper there through turn 7. He clipped the inside curb, got sideways, and he goes around, and I don't know if that was strictly a spin of his own accord or with DaCosta, or if he had an engine issue. Up the hill we go. Cruz now onto the bumper of that main pack. Braden Domey up the road, who had to start tail end Charlie as well. And that's the Sorrel Raceworks CRG. Cruz is to 8th from dead last. 16th to 8th for Brent Cruz now as the field heads down the back. And the top 2 drivers so far this week have a big gap. Alex Stanfield second, Brandon Carr the leader. Side by side into the hairpin, or into the bowl, I should say. Cruz gets around Domey, that's for 7th. And Henry Wheeler got around Nicholas Terlecki for position number 5. Cruz is almost close enough on Terlecki. Won't be enough, though, I don't think, into turn 8. And they stay single file as way wide, and a problem for Julian DaCosta. DaCosta is wide. Julian DaCosta is out of 3rd in the number 78.
Wow, tough break for the number 78 of Julian DaCosta. In a great running position, 3rd. Would have lined him up on the inside of row 2 for the final later, but now out. It's going to have to start from the back of the field. So we see another move. Brent Cruz charging his way through this field early on those fresh tires.
Yeah, big move there from Brent Cruz. He'll now crack into 5th on the racetrack there. He's got Henry Wheeler, the next one up, who's gotten a little bit away as Wheeler is looking speedy. Henry Wheeler, fastest on the racetrack last time by. He's hunted down Max Taylor for that 3rd spot. So Taylor's going to come under pressure. Cruz getting away. There's the group there, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Henry Wheeler on the bumper of his MDR BJR teammate. There is the OTKs run 3rd and 4th. Stanfield and Carr still up the road, about 1.25 seconds as they climb the hill to the final turn.
And just in the back of that frame, Brent Cruz arriving on the scene. He will get to Wheeler and Taylor here in a lap or 2 with the pace that he is currently running. Brent Cruz, a 46.6 last time by, matching the pace of the rest of the field. Everyone pretty consistent and still in line with 8.5 minutes plus 2 laps remaining in this OKN Pre-final.
Henry Wheeler got up to the bumper of Max Taylor, has faded backwards since. Through the turn 5-6 chicane here, we watch now as Braden Domey on the CRG is not letting Brent Cruz get out of his sight. Again, remember, Braden Domey was running inside the top 3 when he broke in one of his heat races. That's what's mired him down the order. So he's also a driver that's been carving his way up the lineup. And now he's trying to close up to Brent Cruz and ride his coattails towards the lead pack. Brandon Carr, that time, resets fast lap. It gets beaten by Taylor. Taylor at a 47.38 to Brandon Carr's 47.44. Alex Stanfield, Team GWR Gillard, 0.2 off the lead. He's lost some time. The number 5 is now 0.6 away, and it looked like early on he might have had something to fight with. Right now, not so much, but we've only put about 4 minutes on the clock. Still 7.5 to go, plus 2 laps. Things could change, but we're just getting into that point of the race where the tires are up to temp, the air pressures are where they want to be, and you start to really see who can flex their muscle and who's the strongest. Right now, I still think Brandon Carr is the strongest on the racetrack, but little hot sparks from Max Taylor, from Brent Cruz. Of course, Cruz with that little bit of a tire advantage here in the pre-final. That'll go away with new rubber in the final, but you'd expect him to maybe even have a little more of an edge. Right now, it looks good enough to maybe get to 3rd. He's up to the bumper for 4th through turn 3.
Struggling with some air wash there through turn 3. Won't quite get to Henry Wheeler's bumper on that time through turn 4, but Brent Cruz still your fastest driver on track at 47.350 last time. Leader's last lap 47.39, so 400ths advantage to Brent Cruz as he continues to chase down Henry Wheeler, who follows closely behind Max Taylor for the end of this podium fight.
Talked with Brent Cruz earlier today before he went out for the afternoon warm-up sessions. He's had a lot of experience in the OKJ package for time testing here stateside and racing on the international level in the junior categories. He said this one, obviously, it's a little bit different, not too much different, still roughly the same speed as that OKJ package. It does have that 1,000 lower RPM from the senior division, so he's still relatively comfortable as he tries a move on Henry Wheeler in 4, couldn't do it. He'll be close enough to dive him here in turn 8 if he stays close to the infield through 5, through 6. Decent run through 6. Maybe something. I think he's definitely close enough now. Turn 8 inside. Brent Cruz, P4.
Moving his way up the order of the fastest drivers on track. Last time by, Brandon Carr, though, another 47.3, stretching his advantage out slightly, now out to a second in front as we see Brent Cruz go and try and chase down Max Taylor for that third spot from the number 33 Kart ahead of him.
Up the hill for Brent Cruz now. Taylor's still about 4 or 5 car lengths away. They're making up ground, and they have been for a while on Alex Stanfield, and they're at best holding, or at minimum holding even to Brandon Carr. Carr reset his fastest lap that time by, and the overall best on the race. Still really didn't pull away that much from the rest of the pack, though. Taylor about a 10th off, Stanfield 2 off, even for Brent Cruz, even with a pass, which is super impressive for Brent Cruz there to be running even with them with the pass, to have that kind of tire life right now. They're 8 laps in. This is where that new tire advantage starts to go away just a little bit, but also these guys starting to go away just a little as well. Let's go side by side here with OKN Stars as we've got Alexander Searle on the grid getting set for some more. Alex?
Yeah, thanks. And here with Josh Conker, P2 finisher in the pre-final. Josh, started P9 there, worked your way through the field. You know, had to get around a few incidents there with Vincenzo and Colin. Talk about your race.
Yeah, it was a good overall race. Started off pretty well, gaining a couple spots on the first lap. The plan was to kind of either get in front of Colin and try and make my way forward, or to follow Colin through the field. So it was the latter there, and I was following him through pretty well. We were cooking pretty good, picking off guys one by one together, and then he had some contact with Vincenzo, unfortunately, and then made some contact with myself on the back end of it. So some work to do for the final for sure. We weren't perfect. You know, we're gonna be there for sure, but overall good race, and happy to be P2 after starting P9.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
All right, there you hear it from Josh Conker as here comes Brent Cruz. He'll take over third on Max Taylor in turn number 1. They are inching their way closer and closer, lap by lap, to Alex Stanfield. This one's not over yet. Brent Cruz might be able to come from last to first. He's still about 2 seconds away from race leader Brandon Carr, a second back from Alex Stanfield, but he's got time on his side. 3 minutes and 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. That's going to be 6 to 8 laps here left in this one. That'll be a lot of time if he can get the exit. I think right now the only downside for Brent Cruz, Simon, looking at it, he has not been getting good drives out of that infield hairpin of turn number 8. That time even Taylor kind of knocked into the rear bumper of him, anticipating a better exit than what he was actually able to put together.
Yeah, we saw just a slight bit of contact exiting that infield hairpin, but Brent Cruz still pushing his way forward. Another 47.3 even with a rough exit out of the infield there, so making way towards Stanfield, closing it up. It's only about 3 kart lengths back now, and Stanfield losing touch to Brandon Carr, now 1.7 seconds out front.
Brandon Carr has been dominant all weekend long. He might now, in the final, have some more company, because not only is Brent Cruz hunting him down again, Taylor was reeling in Alex Stanfield on his own. They both were even, if not a little better, or maybe a little worse than the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart driver, who still shows the way. As they come out of turn 9, 2 minutes 30 seconds plus 2 laps to go. Cruz is there. This would be for that other front row starting spot, that second place position. Alex Stanfield has it. Cruz wants it. Deep dive, turn 1. That was nice from Brent Cruz.
He got there incredibly quick. Did not take him long at all. Less than a lap to close 3 kart lengths and make the pass in a category with some air wash. These high-speed karts not the easiest to pass in, but Brent Cruz making it look like nothing as he charges his way into the P2 spot for that number 5 Hunt Brothers Pizza OTK kart.
Look at the run into the infield as well here. Max Taylor wanting to get by Alex Stanfield. He'll get by for third, taking advantage as Stanfield went wide into the turn 1. Got a little bit dirt on the tires, kind of got out of shape, and had to take a lap to kind of regroup himself. Taylor was right there ready, and now Max Taylor back into third again. Stanfield drops to fourth. How much time can Brent Cruz make up on Brandon Carr? 1.8 seconds is the gap as of last time by. With the pass on Alex Stanfield, he still picked up a 1/10 of a second on the race leader. It is a minute and a half plus 2 laps to go. Can the Ryan Perry Motorsport Tony Kart driver hold on? He's got a perfect weekend in the works when it comes to the race sessions by going Heat 1 and Heat 2. And then, of course, here looking at a pre-final win. But Brent Cruz could play spoiler. Max Taylor is also making big strides when you think about Taylor, just like Cruz, not making it in on Thursday. 1 practice session on an engine he'd never driven before. Very impressive stuff from the kid in third as we come down the front straightaway.
3 very talented drivers out front in positions 1, 2, and 3 currently. Brandon Carr, Brent Cruz, and Max Taylor. Brandon Carr, a 47 3:29 last time by. Brent Cruz a 47.10, so 0.2 advantage. Still a 1.5 gap between the two. But key to note is that Brent Cruz ran a 47.0 a few laps ago. That's 0.3 better than Brandon Carr's fast lap. So when we get to the final, this is definitely going to be something we're going to want to watch for.
Might just be a little bit too late here. This time by, we will be at the border of getting 2 laps to go. I think we will get 3. 25 to 30 seconds left. Carr coming up the hill. Indeed, 3 to go this time by. 2 to go next time by. As the timer gets closer to 0, Carr needing to put a few more good laps together on that used rubber to stay out in front. 1.2 seconds. Brent Cruz at that rate would need 1 additional lap to arrive on the bumper. He needs a lap here with a 4 or 5/10 gain. You can see Cruz was hanging on the ragged edge there through turn number 3. He wants it. He wants that win from dead last, Simon.
He does, and he's making headway into that. 47.0 last time by, fastest lap on track. Brent Cruz on a charge. 1.2 back from the lead now. We're not sure if it's going to be enough coming to 2 laps to go, but he certainly made an impact, and everyone will be looking at his performance after this race.
Yeah, they're all going to be keeping an eye on it, and again, it's a big showing to the amount of heat cycles the drivers have on these MG Yellows, how they're going to hold up over that longer main event under the lights. Down the front stretch, Cruz, what can he do versus Carr? Only 0.2 that time. Not enough. 1 second away with 2 laps to go. He's reeling him in. He's just going to come up a little bit shy. Taylor is also faster than Brandon Carr here on old rubber. Credit to Max Taylor. I mean, he was even to Brent Cruz that time by. Max Taylor might just be the odds-on favorite looking at that main event, because if you take Cruz's tire advantage out of the situation, Max Taylor is the best of everyone so far this weekend. So I'm very, very impressed with the MDR BJR OTK pilot of Max Taylor. Double duty. He mentioned last night the physicality of running 2 classes, especially the high-speed OKN, really working on his body, working on his neck. He's surviving so far, and now with 1 more lap, he's going to have an inside second-row starting spot for the main. Fastest lap of the race right there, as if on cue for Max Taylor, 47.058. Half a lap to go. Brent Cruz down to 0.8. So close and yet so far away, Simon.
I think we're lining ourselves up for an amazing final later tonight. 3 top drivers are extremely competitive, all of which are very quick, and we can see Brent Cruz still closing in on Brandon Carr. It's not going to be enough to take the win here, and most likely Brandon Carr will lead your field to the final later tonight, and Brent Cruz will round out his outside.
Well, it makes it that much more impressive. A Cars Tour race last night, a go-kart race here this afternoon. Second place from dead last with a little fresher rubber. Brandon Carr, your OKN pre-final winner, and he continues his dominant streak. But the field is tightening. Brent Cruz second, Max Taylor third. Cruz resets fast time to a 46.9 on the final lap. Alex Stanfield fourth, Henry Wheeler in fifth. Then we go back, Aiden Fox, Ryan Raffa, Nicholas Terlecki, Wes Duchak, Braden Domey, the top 10, and Keegan Bosch rounds out the drivers that remain on the racetrack. A number of DNFs in that one. Jarrett Banks, Spencer Mast, Eli Fox, Julian DaCosta. We saw that big off for Josh Holtz. And then, of course, the heartbreak for Brooke Nachtman. Didn't even get to make the pace lap as the engine would not fire off the grid. Let's go down to the drivers that did make it off the grid and gave us a good show in Pro Stars. Alexander Searle is standing by with Vincenzo Saraceno.
Yeah, thanks, Xander Vincenzo. Started P3. The race didn't really go your way. Had a bit of contact there with Colin Daly. First of all, walk us through what happened there.
The contact didn't affect any race. I mean, sorry to Colin that he lost a few seconds there, but I'm glad we got through it with no damage. But me and my mechanic made a decision to swap flip tires, and that just killed us. But I don't know, the warm-up lap, I felt the fuel spraying out of the fuel tank. I noticed it was like a little off the threading. So when I was unscrewing it on the warm-up lap, I guess some fuel, I felt it spray on my leg, and I assumed some went in the braking system, so I don't know if that had anything to do with it sticking and dragging left under brakes, but I mean, yeah, just hard work, and look forward to the final.
All right, thanks, Vincenzo.
Thank you.
All right, there you go from Vincenzo Saraceno, hearing from one half of the incident there. A lot of respect for all the Pro Stars guys. They were racing hard. Here's the other half of the hard racing there. Colin Daly definitely made that pre-final exciting. Ends up with a good result, and he's standing by with Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Xander. Colin, Mr. Late on the brakes that entire race. He made a few great moves there. One move, he went on the inside there of Vincenzo. Couldn't really make it stick. Talk to us about what happened.
It was a little bit late, too late. He didn't see me, and you know, it's a racing incident. Hopefully we can keep it clean for the final, and hopefully we can get the car running, you know, much better.
Thanks, Colin.
All right, thank you.
Colin Daly's been making strides all week here with the DR North America boys and girls, and he looks really impressive as we look towards the night skies. Post-race interview still to come for a handful from OKN stars, but if you want to watch more of the on-track action, the main events are exclusive to KC Premium members. Make sure to go to youtube.com/kartchaser/join to sign up to become a KC Premium member and watch those main events live. If you can't, they go on instant replay Wednesday of the following week, so you'll be able to watch the main events tape delayed later on next weekend. But again, stay with us here for the live stream. We can hear from some of our top contenders. Maybe see if we can get Brent Cruz for a little bit on his ride, as well as the more other stars up at the front of that OKN Stars class. Don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, and welcome to GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. We're here to show you the fastest way around this racetrack. The key takeaways from GoPro Motorplex are the speed bowl. Drivers want to use the camber of the turn to slow the kart down, rather than overbraking on entry. As it's a long flowing corner, the constant turning of the steering wheel is bringing their speed down. Drivers with confidence can make up time on entry to this corner and using the embankment to their advantage. Once the kart is stabilised around halfway point, you can apply the throttle with confidence and know that you're going to get a fast exit. The 180-degree hairpin on the infield is one of the best overtaking opportunities at GoPro. The fastest way to drive this corner is to keep the kart straight in the braking zone and turning late to set up your exit speed. So if you're in a battle pack, be mindful that the fastest way to drive
back here live at Trackhouse Motorplex. Let's hear from some of our standout stars in that OKN Stars pre-final. Brandon Carr got the win. Max Taylor ended up third with a really quick speed by the second half of that pre-final. He's standing by with Simon.
Yeah, great drive, Max, to get up to third there at the end. We saw some great pace out of you. Tell me how it went from your end.
Yeah, I started in 8th place, so I knew I had to work my way forward. I was just patient and mature, and I just worked my way forward, overtaking one by one, and I got up to third. I was catching Stanfield. Brent passed me, and I got Stanfield.
All right, what do you need to do to give yourself a win tonight, a night fight?
I got to work out my neck a little more, maybe. But we'll work a little bit on the engine, on the kart, just making everything perfect. and I'm sure there's a little bit in my driving as well, and I think we have a shot at it.
All right, thanks, Max. Good luck later.
All right, we go from Max Taylor. We'll bring in Brent Cruz here. It's been a busy 3 days for Brent. Let's hear from him, Simon.
Brent, obviously you had some car racing last night, show up this morning. Late entry into the field in OKN, but already making big waves with a great drive through the field there. Tell me how it went.
Just want to thank everybody for getting this cart together. Greg Bell, Cody, my dad, everybody that put this thing together last minute, and everybody that let me race, because most series wouldn't let me do this. I just want to say thank you to all of the Stars people, and I think everybody's done a great job with this series. And we have a very fast go-kart here. Super excited to be able to race one again and have a fast one for sure is definitely nice. Being able to drive through the field like that, most of the time you're just not able to do. So pretty confident going into the race. I think we can get a little bit better, and we'll have a shot at it.
All right, and heading into tonight's final, what can you do to take the win over the likes of Max Taylor and Brandon Kart, who've shown good pace so far?
I think clean up myself a little bit. I'm still making too many mistakes. Been a little bit. I think we can get a little bit better with our motor package and tune up the go-kart a little bit, and I think we'll have a shot at it.
Awesome. Well, good luck tonight. Thanks.
There you go from Brent Cruz and that Hunt Brothers Pizza Racing OTK, powered by Mega Power Engines. He's had a solid drive so far, and that drive will continue from the front row for tonight's main event at OKN Stars. If you want to watch the main events, again, make sure to hit that join button if you're watching on YouTube. If not, we'll see you next week. This stream will go dark. The next one will go up.